Good evening, everybody. How's it going out there? This is Dr. Scott coming at you from the Game Junction, and we have some fun news for you tonight. But before we get into that, we have a special guest. We have Chris here. Hey, Chris, say hello to everybody out there in gaming land. It's Chris Miller from CMRetro Gaming. We're glad to have you here on the show tonight. And then we also have Robert's down there hiding behind his little red screen. Retro Rob's down there as well. So we'll let
He's
him
gonna be
hide for a
back.
few minutes. He'll be back like the Terminator. We also have our good friend down there, Tony Two Ton. Say hi, Tony, to everybody who's watching.
What's up? What's up?
Our good friend Mark is over there with his awesome shelves and the awesome flag and his peace sign, and this means a Roman ordering 5 beers.
That's V for victory.
Whichever.
Gotta do what Mario does.
Yahoo! And up there's Brandon looking great in his room of doom. Say hi, Brandon.
What's up, guys?
Yes. How's everybody doing tonight?
Awesome,
Good.
man.
So,
Yeah, good.
So, yeah, all right. So Chris, good to have you with us here. Like your
Thank
shirt?
you for having me.
Yeah, I like your shirt there. Star Wars, woohoo!
Thanks.
At least
yeah,
it's not
well-
Star Trek, man. I don't think we've had a Star Trek fan on here, and I don't think we could. You know,
Next-
I'm a
2
Star
weeks
Trek
from now.
fan.
yeah,
2 weeks
right.
from now.
But only
Oh,
good
no.
Star Trek, not the crap they have on now. Except I heard that the Strange New Worlds is good, but I haven't watched it yet. But not Discovery and that other crap. So we won't.
So you only
won't get
mean
into
the
that.
original Star Trek then?
Yes. I mean,
I like Next Generation, and
Just trying to cause
I don't like
controversy.
I don't like Picard. I like Deep Space Nine. I thought was fantastic. I liked Voyager. I thought
Mark's
Enterprise
running
was
around over here with his
fantastic.
gas and lighter.
But we'll get into that later. But let's get into the news. So we have a little bit of news here, and then I believe you have some more news topics, don't you, Brandon? You have a couple other
Yes.
things.
Yep.
All right. So, according to rumor, and I think they are in the middle of the gaming awards right now. The game awards out there in sunny California, where all the crazy people are. So, hi, crazy people. We love you. You're not all crazy, just a few of them. And the at the Game Awards, they will be premiering apparently Tekken 8. I'm excited about Tekken 8.
Yes,
I'm
me too.
a Tekken fan. I'd like to see
Okay,
other Tekken.
am I the
fans.
only one that thought Tekken 7 just came out?
That's what it
No,
felt like
it's
to me.
Probably.
360.
But
360?
I-
Oh shit, I'm
I
way behind.
I think that what has been causing some of that is the pandemic lasted for about what 15 years, and so that's how come we think that everything's like just it just
So
happened.
long.
So, but I haven't seen anything about Tekken 8 though. I was trying to dig around and find something, but of course I think they're kind of keeping it hush hush. So that'd be kind of cool.
You played much fighting games, Chris?
I don't know if you heard.
I don't
Chris?
think he can.
Chris, can you hear me? No?
I don't think he can hear us.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, he can't hear us.
Chris.
Can you hear us? Oh, okay.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah, you play many fighting games at all?
You're asking me my thoughts on Tekken 8?
Just
And/or
fighting,
fighting
games.
games.
Well, I'm an old school fighting game fan. I think fighting games work best with a Super Nintendo controller, just the way the buttons are laid out. This modern stuff, I don't really play a lot online, but I do try and play a couple like 6th-gen fighting games. So this year I did actually Tekken 5 on PS2, which is an excellent game. But those games were just so jammed-packed with content. Like you can unlock, there's an arcade mode, a survival mode, story mode. There's some like 3D game on that disc. And then you can also unlock Tekken 1, 2, and 3, which is what I like. But I thought that was cool. But I am also a big Tekken Tag fan. I hope to see another Tekken Tag game return. I played through the PS3 version last year. It looks beautiful. You can unlock the soundtracks and arenas and art. And they just put so much into it. I think they want you to feel like you're getting your money's worth. You know what I mean?
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
I'm not
a
just
lot
a
of the
normal-
time they
just-
really do.
Yeah, not just a normal fighting thing. You just fight through, unlock 5 characters, and be done.
Street Fighter 2 guy from back in the old Super Nintendo days. That's my favorite fighting game of all time.
Tight. Those controls are just so tight.
Yeah, I used to really dig Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 on the Super Nintendo, and
Me too.
I've heard that I've heard that the Genesis version is actually a little better, but I don't know what it is. It's even with a 6-button controller, which I prefer. I really dug it on the Super Nintendo. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And
it's
so
the top buttons, the trigger buttons, because when you use those, you can use those to grapple. You've always got 2 fingers on attack buttons, plus your thumb. So you've always got half of the buttons covered with your fingers. Where the Genesis controller is kind of wonky to use because you're kind of rolling your thumb across the buttons, and it just doesn't have that same.
That's a good point. That is a really good point. I never thought of it that way. Yeah, because you are rolling. That's why I like the Super Nintendo one, because the girl I was seeing at the time, I mentioned this in my latest video, that she didn't know anything about gaming or anything, and I brought my Super Nintendo over her house, and she's just mashing buttons and just kicking my ass. I never won a game. I swear. I'm sitting there going, yeah, okay, well, I've got Shiva, and I'm gonna. Oh well. All right, you win. I'm like, I'm not gonna play this anymore. But yeah, I'm with you, Chris. I really like the old school ones. They do pack in a lot, though, don't they? Because especially with Mortal Kombat, I mean, they give you so much stuff, and then they have all that extra DLC, and there's sometimes I think there's too much. It's just like, give me something a little more straightforward, so that way I can get my ass kicked by somebody who's in the room. So.
Yeah, here's a question that I get asked sort of frequently when I say that I played through like Tekken 5 or a modern fighter game. How many times do you have to beat the game in order to say that you were able to beat the game? Like, if you just run through with one character, are you cool with I beat the game, or are you sort of like a 3-character person, or what's your process there?
So I would definitely say, like, with those fighting games, I would be more so going through and unlocking everything to beat the game.
All I'm getting is blue squares.
You may have to reset, like, maybe leave the Discord and pop back in.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
I'll keep going. So, like, I'm more along the lines of that. You really, those kind of games, you got to play multiple times and beat it. Probably
Chris,
my internet.
Yes, I can absolutely hear you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have to disconnect and then come back in. Could be you. It could be on our end.
Okay, 1 second.
All right.
Give him a chance there.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He will be back. Unlike.
Oh no, it's just the 4 of us.
Unlike what's his name, Rob Mod, that didn't pop back in. What happened to that guy?
he said he couldn't get his voice set up and nobody else would help him. I was trying to reply, but I don't know. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna.
Yeah,
he's on next week, so we'll figure it out.
In the settings, yeah, kind of like how I was having that problem that time.
But yeah, I really dig that question because you can't. I don't think those games you can't beat it with one character and claim you beat the game. I don't think it's like that. You can't run through Mortal Kombat with Scorpion and beat it, get ending credits, and say, "Oh, that game's over."
Absolutely not, because a lot of the characters are. I think some of them are a little. There's a bigger learning, the sharper learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Because
sure.
I mean, I always thought Baraka was kind of heavy-handed. You just go in there, you got all these blades, you chop everybody up, you get through the game, you're like, all right, I'm done. But
right.
If you're going to be using somebody like, I don't know, Jade or something like that, I mean, I'm not saying that she's a wimp, but she's going to be a little lighter-handed than somebody who's got blades coming out of their arms. So yeah, maybe if you're doing it with 2 or 3 different characters on different ends, then I would say, yeah, you solved the game, you unlocked enough of it. But then again, how many people have unlocked, like, for example, I've played through Grand Theft Auto Vice City a couple of times, and the campaign, I've done the secret packages, there's still so much stuff to unlock.
Right.
I've never met anybody who's ever said, yeah, I've unlocked 100% of Grand Theft Auto. Vice City.
So there's a good differential though between that kind of game versus like that fighting game, I guess, as well. I guess you could do a couple characters and say you beat the game on the fighting games, but like you say with Grand Theft Auto, are you going to 100% that ever?
No,
I don't think so.
My view is like playing an arcade-based game, right? You're sitting at the arcade, you want to run through it, you technically be able to say you beat it with one character, right? Like you played the one time, you put your quarters in. Is a kid going to stand there all day and play through every character and say they beat the game? Like, how do you judge that?
All right, Mom, give me another roll of quarters.
I mean, if you think about it, like it's meant for a bunch of people to come in. So I would say that like
I
beating
feel
the game that
I
way.
can definitely see the arcade as well, because you're not going to put as much unlockable content in an arcade cabinet versus you would like a home console game.
so. It feels
Right.
like the distinction is like the distinction you're drawing is I beat the game versus I completed the game. It feels like the two distinctions that you're trying to make.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Because I think
I
I've
like
heard
that,
the
yeah.
kind of what the completionist does when
Yeah.
he does his stuff, and
That's a,
I like
that's a
that.
good perspective.
Yeah,
That's
I
a real
like
good
that.
perspective. Well, I hate to say this, but they also said that in 2023 we're going to be getting a Cyberpunk 2077 Game of the Year edition. Any takers for that?
I don't
Probably
know
me.
what's involved in that game. Just a cleaner
Yeah.
version of the game.
Listen, it launched as shit, but I mean, it is a
Yeah.
decently playable game
It
now,
is.
and a lot of people say that. So, and I haven't played any DLC, so I think it would probably be a grab for me, but probably
I
at a
haven't-
discounted price.
I haven't replayed it I beat it when it first came out when I played on the PS5.
even
I had
beat
a couple small issues, but I played through the storyline. Okay, here we go again. I played through the first story. I guess I didn't play through all three, so I played through the first story on it, and I put it down, never picked it back up. I've heard they've had so many updates for it. It's probably a completely different game now if I tried it.
Not
But
really. It's
that
just
was
not
my-
broken.
That
It
was
was
my
just
view
less
with
broken.
No Man's Sky last night. Like I played it when it came out at launch,
Mhm.
and it was ass. I played it last night. It was pretty fun.
Oh, wait till you'll get more into it once you start getting like mech suits and stuff in No Man's Sky. It gets really interesting.
Mech suits.
Yeah,
Cool.
you can actually get a full blown mech suit and walk around the planet like
Not like
collect-
run out of
Yeah.
fuel in space somehow.
It's just
you
I
gotta
got
shoot them
straight-
asteroids, bro.
I got stranded in space. Well, I had whatever it was that made me be able to get fuel
Yeah.
already in my menu items, but I thought I was stuck there. So whatever.
Good
It
stuff.
was funny though.
Well, really, that's
Yeah.
kind of a dumb concept, right? Because once you're in space and you use a little fuel to push yourself forward, you can just cut off the engines and maintain
Supposed to be able to coast.
That's how space
Yeah.
is supposed to work. So the idea that I have to continually burn fuel while flying through space is kind of
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
don't
make
know
Yeah.
about
sense.
that one.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah,
make it a
there's no
survival game
friction.
somehow, though.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's when Space Pirates should come and kick your ass then.
But yeah,
instead
Game
of,
of
"Oh,
the
I
Year
gotta-"
edition. Game of the Year edition. Cyberpunk. Thumbs down. I'm good. I got the original.
It's going to be a
disc, and
heavy
I'm fine with
discount.
that.
I think so because once I had my updates and stuff, and I haven't played through the entire game yet, but I was enjoying what I
Right.
had. But I don't even see myself ever downloading the DLC. So if I ever
Yeah.
saw one, if I ever saw the Game of the Year edition for $20 someplace new or whatever, I might snag it. But otherwise,
I mean, now granted, it has had a complete turnaround on Steam. It was like one of the best-selling games for like a week straight on Steam for a while there. So
Yeah, but was there anything coming out
But-
that it had to compete against to be best selling?
it doesn't
Probably.
matter.
It does.
but let's take the perspective that Mark just gave us about something that's complete.
Mhm.
So when you say that it's the Game of the Year edition, usually that
That
means
should be
the
done,
complete
right?
edition. That's
All the
everything.
DLCs, no more, nothing else coming out for it.
Right, and that should mean everything, including all updates and everything, are on the disc. So if you
That's what I was about to say. It's not
Yeah,
even going
a
to be on the
Blu-ray-
disc, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, that's right, because to me, if you're going to be getting 3 discs, 3 Blu-rays or something like that, so that way
You
you
won't
have
even get that.
everything there. No.
You won't
so
even get
that
enough
way,
to fill the disc. So
It's not
Yeah.
even a Game of the Year edition then.
And
And you
I-
end up with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
yeah,
Here's a
yeah, I
steelbook
mean,
case with a download in it. Welcome to the Game of the Year edition.
yeah.
No.
I mean, that's how it's
So
going to
like-
be.
That's like the thing that I hate most and I fear most about
Yep.
modern gaming.
I know.
That we're just getting away from physical. We're already starting to see it with these newer consoles where they release a disk drive version and now there's not a disk drive version.
Yep.
The second and third iteration of that same console, they'll just get rid of the disk drive.
So we talked about that on one of the podcasts. PS5 is now going to release the PS5 with a detachable disc drive. And that's a new version of a PS5. They're actually going to have it where you can detach your disc drive and take it somewhere else and just use your disc drive other play. I don't know.
Well, but it's actually a peripheral that you'll add. So
Yeah, it
that
doesn't
way-
come with it.
Yeah, they're
buy
they're streamlining their costs by not making 2 models now. They're only making
Yeah.
one. And then if you want to actually add that to a digital edition that you already have, and I'm not talking the ones coming out, I'm talking the ones that already
come out then.
Yeah, because let's say you go to, a gaming expo, or you go to a GameStop, or a buddy says, "Hey, I'm going to give you this game. I'm not playing it anymore." Well, you're kind of up the creek without a paddle. But if you've got that drive, and you find a game for $5, $10, $15, instead of, oh, you got to go on the store and pay $60 for it. Too bad.
That digital online store, that shit don't drop on PlayStation very often at all.
No.
Crazy. The fact that they're charging the same price for essentially
Red Dead Redemption 2 is still $60 on there, and that game's been out for almost 2 years now.
Get that for $10 at GameStop.
Yeah, they never reduce anything.
They're just gonna just make it like on their network, so I don't have to care, because the console's gonna be a price, and you're gonna have to pay a price for the detachable drive. Then you know what I mean. And
then the streaming, then the service itself.
Well, I'm assuming, because I think I've heard a little bit about this. So the price of the new one, it'll be probably the same price as the digital one is now.
Yeah.
And then that way your drive is like you're adding that extra, say $100 or whatever it is, like you would if you were buying one that had the drive. I think it's a good idea for a couple of reasons, but my main reason is that drive dies. It's easier to get a new one as opposed to I got to tear this apart. Because my PS3
send it in and have it fixed.
Right, my PS3's pickup lens died, and of course that thing is married to the board. So I had to actually open up the drive itself, and its daughter card. I had to actually put the guts in there and all that stuff. It was a pain in the butt, But at the end of the day, I had a brand new clean machine, and I had a brand new Blu-ray drive in there.
Right.
But I'd only had it for a couple of years.
Thankfully, they already gave it like a modular design with the disk drive. I've had it opened up and everything. It's pretty take out and simple to do. But yeah, with the fat PS3, that's a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a
So
nightmare.
I think that this is smart, and Microsoft they're following the same thing. They're going to be doing the same thing. So
well, I would say Microsoft kind of started this back with a 360 almost, though, because they had that the HD DVD drive that you could attach to your 360. So I mean, they've kind of been doing an external disk drive for a while now. If you think in terms of that, kind of Microsoft was on the edge of that back then. It didn't take off nowhere. Nobody gave a shit about HD DVDs really, but I mean that was a pretty cool little thing that you could do with it.
That's not true. Let's be fair here. We had the TurboGrafx CD, right? So we had that attachment.
Here we go.
We had that attachment, and we had the Jaguar CD. So we had that attachment, right?
But
so there's
but then you can say 32X. You've got Sega CD.
I'm saying.
We could go around that all the way around.
Groundbreaking. Let's not give Bill Gates any credit for anything.
Well,
I'm not pulling on Bill Gates. Don't worry about that.
Not to split hairs, but I think Tony's a little more on the correct side with that, because you already had a drive there, so now you have this extra peripheral that can also but you could still play games off of it too. So let's say your main drive died and you're like, oh crap, you'd be like, oh wait a minute, I've got my HD DVD player, or somebody's getting rid of theirs or whatever. I can just throw that on there instead of running out and buying a brand new system. So
I generally like it too. I wish they had just started the PS5 off with that to begin with. Like it makes sense to me.
I'm glad they didn't, because now I have the original version with the disc drive, so my shit's gonna be worth a lot of money as long as it keeps working if they do that one.
Well, it was an afterthought, but Microsoft's doing the same thing, but they're not going to redesign their systems to accommodate for that, because they already have the little teeny tiny S, and then they've got the big X, and they're just going to make that drive. So if you want to attach it to your S, you can.
Let's be honest. The PS5 with the drive is ugly as shit. The one without the drive is beautiful, slimmer.
Now I will say that with some plate changes on the side, it looks really good. The D-brand plates, those little slim D-branded plates they have, look amazing on there.
Yeah, those were cool when they were doing those.
Review Tech USA had some of them on, and then you could get different ones that had different lights and stuff in them. And like you said, they were right along with the actual, the molding of the body and everything, instead of these wild ass things that were coming off to make it look like. Yeah, I think that
it's got a little booty on it. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I like it.
Bootylicious.
I don't know who was smoking crack. I mean, to each their own, but who was smoking crack when they came up with that, and they were like, what?
Like the Series X, I love it, man. I think it's a slick,
refrigerator.
nice.
Oh wait, it
Slick,
was a
nice
refrigerator.
design.
I think it's cool the Series X design, but I think that they could have put a little more thought into it.
I don't like the open top. I don't like that. All the dust. I've opened it up, filled with dust.
Well, you can get a filter to put on top of that.
I know you can.
But that's the smarter design though, because the heat goes straight up. But
yeah.
But at the same time, you can tilt it on its side. So
All right, so now I want to take that argument back. What would you say is the best designed retro console?
Ooh.
Oh, I got one.
Chris, ideas?
I really enjoy the NES top loader. Great console.
Nice.
The controller.
Love that one.
The dog bone controller is probably my favorite controller of all time, and it's how I play. My Sharp TV right here, the 72 pin connector, going bad as they normally do. Instead of taking this thing apart and replacing it, I just literally hooked up my top loader to my Sharp TV. That's how I play, baby. That's how it's done, right?
Nice.
Mark?
I'd say Super Famicom.
Okay.
Personal taste.
Yeah, I mean, you do lean toward that, toward that Japanese kind of aesthetic.
I think the aesthetic looked better back then. Now everything's all generic, but plus I like the console itself as well. So
I'm gonna give it to you, Mark. I do believe between the Super Nintendo and the Famicom, I do like the Famicom better.
Absolutely.
Just the sleekness of it, the way it's all smooth and rounded versus just a boxy thing that's there that you can't do anything with.
Gray and purple box.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the colors of it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think the colors of the Super Nintendo are great. But the Famicom just looks as just a sleeker system, And from what I understand, didn't they design the Super Nintendo that way specifically so you couldn't set drinks and stuff on it? Like, I thought I remember hearing something about that.
I think it was part of that and marketing. They didn't think the Famicom design would sell in the U.S. Look too childish. I guess they're trying to make it look
the collars on the controller.
Yeah.
Mine is definitely Sega CDX for sure. I love the slick small design. I can fit a bunch of other stuff on the shelf. Works, and it's portable CD player. I take it with me every day.
Yeah, right.
They still sell those at Kroger. I don't know if you guys have Kroger's where you're from. It's like a grocery store. They still sell portable CD players at Kroger.
Oh my god,
that's fun.
Bring in the cassette player, and I'll care.
I actually have, I kind of have two. Now I would say the CDX, but I'm gonna go a step to the right on that one, and I'm gonna say the JVC XI.
I love the XI. Yeah.
I had one. A buddy of mine, he had it, and he wanted something that I think it was. I had an Apple split keyboard. He goes, "I'll trade you for it," because I found this keyboard. I go, "Yeah, all right." And I had it for a little while, and I didn't even have any games for the Sega CD. I just kept using it as a Genesis, and that was it. And then I was just like, I had it for maybe 8 months, and I was like, this isn't doing me any good, and it's worth quite a bit. So I just sold it.
Yeah.
But but personally, for something that I still have now, I'm gonna go with the original Dreamcast. I mean, it's compact. The thing is heavy. It's built like a damn tank. So that's my pick.
Yeah, that sports Dreamcast is definitely one of the best looking consoles in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think the standard one is. I don't think it's that pretty. I don't.
The
But
white would look better. The white would look better if it had some other kind of coloration with it, like something to pop off of it, besides just that little bit of orange that it had. But the black one just makes it look so much better.
I agree.
Design wise, yes, the black looks better, but I'm going with my nostalgia just because I have the white one, and I don't know. It's my baby. I wipe it with a diaper. Tony?
I would have to say design-wise, just purely based on the way the console itself looks, the Nintendo 64 to me just has the best design of any other console. Like it's made nothing like anything else. There's nothing else that looks like it.
One of the colors.
Yeah, right. Well, no, I mean even the original, just the way it's shaped. You know, you've got kind of like the rounded. It's almost shaped like a damn castle. Like if you look at it in the short, the I don't know, like it's an ink blot thing for me. I can look at it and totally see like a little mini castle out of it. But like the way it's rounded on the sides and kind of like it almost looks like a little UFO at the same time. Like I don't know. I like the design of it.
64 was number 2 for me, and I agree. Like the way it like curves at the top, I would compare it to like. It looks like a car because on the top it's got that grill and it's got like the air vent holes, you know.
Right.
It doesn't have any moving parts other than the, you know, the power on button and the reset button.
Yep. And then the top load, like you know, like you said with the NES top load, or something about popping that game into the damn console like that is just.
Cartridges are curved, and when you look at it like straight on with a cartridge in it, that curve on the front matches the curve on the cartridge. It just aesthetically looks very, very nice. It's my number 2.
I'm not a huge fan of the 64 myself, but I love the design of it. Like that's what
I really like the Super Nintendo Junior design too. I think it's pretty sleek and
they kind of went with more that. They kind of geared it more towards a Super Famicom look with that Junior as well.
Yeah,
I do like that.
But the thing about the 64 as well is they had that power supply, which technically is an external power supply, even though it's attached. So if it goes bad, you're not digging in there anywhere, or you're not, you know, and it's all right there. So you don't have like an extra power brick wandering around. You look at your PS2 design, you know, the original PS2, the fat ones, the power supply was on the inside.
All of it on the inside.
The slim, and then you have some
the little brick on the cord.
Yeah. And then the later ones, they're back on the inside again. But then you also have compatibility issues all the way around. So some games won't work, and some games do. And some extra peripherals and things like that work, and some do.
That's PlayStation with their million designs for systems.
Yep.
Right.
3 PS3s, 3 PS4s.
You know what? At least PlayStation does do what Microsoft does, and there's no naming convention that makes sense. That irritates me so much. It doesn't. Their naming convention.
I was having a conversation about the new Xboxes the other day, and the guy was like, well, you talking about the 1S or the 1X? And I'm like, whoa, I'm done. I can't. There's so many. Like, can I just do like? I'm not asking them to say Xbox 1, 2, 3, and 4, but like, can we figure out something better?
Nintendo comes in second on stupid naming conventions. I mean, the Wii U and 3DS and DS and new 3DS and
2DS, new 2DS.
But it's not as bad, and it kind of
new 2DS XL.
But I'll take it a step further.
The DS has got a little weird. Their main consoles weren't as egregious for the most part.
Yeah,
with an exception though, because they always had really cool code names like the Dolphin or the what was that one for the Wii? They were calling it the Revolution, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, here's your Wii, WII.
What? We would like to play.
What about the Xbox 720?
And then, what was that, Chris?
Chris?
That Wii commercial was a great commercial. Like, if you think in the context of time, you remember it.
Oh yeah,
it's incredible.
I mean, it's not Nintendo's best-selling console of all time for no reason, right?
Yeah.
Ingenious marketing.
Yes.
Let's move on to the next thing here. Best Buy is having a 12 Days of Deals event for video games. So it's kind of like a 12 Days of Christmas thing.
Nice.
And
good job, Best Buy, looking out for the gamers.
Yeah, now some of the deals are pretty good, some of them are not, and they're revealing them on their website. So if you go to their website, you'll see all the ones that they've had, and they're now blocked. You can see them; they're grayed out. But then they have like little question marks over what's coming tomorrow and stuff. Now, 2 days ago, they had Deathloop for $50 off, and I was like, "Oh man, that would have been cool," because I would have gotten Brandon's deal for $10.
$50 off.
$50 off.
So it was like $10.
Yeah, it was $10.
Yeah. Jesus.
But yeah, the last 2 days though have been sports games, and then today was like Madden. So I'm like, I don't give a shit. So let's put a dead guy.
Has anybody played Deathloop though? I haven't played that at all. I've heard good things, but
I haven't played it. No,
it's good. I like it. I probably put like 2-3 hours into it. It's different. I mean, it offers something different. I think.
So I always look for something different. I hate the same old shit over and over again.
Yeah, it reminds me a little of like Dishonored. Has that kind of gameplay, but it's pretty fun. Yeah,
gotcha.
It's definitely worth checking out.
Well, anyway, they are Let's see, Deathloop, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, check their site to see what's coming up in the rest of the sale days. So you've got until Christmas time, or like right up till Christmas to see what they've got on sale. So
different stuff each day kind of thing?
Yeah, every day they will have
something
they have
different.
A specific,
nice.
Yeah, they have a specific page that's just for that. So if you click on that page and you'll see what's on sale today. And of course, you can always pay for something and have it in store, and you can go pick it up if they've got it, or, of course, have it mailed to you. So I was like, oh, no, Deathloop, but
they've done this for a while.
The Madden was on sale for like, it was like $29.99, and I'm like, no. I mean,
pass.
No, thank you. I mean, and now had it been maybe $19.99 or $15.99, anybody who's a fan of that kind of thing and they don't have it yet, because most people who buy that kind of a game, they usually get it, especially Madden. They usually get it day one.
Always.
Yeah.
Gotta get those pre-orders.
Yep.
Pre-order bonuses. Gotta get that extra skin.
Absolutely. Deep Silver announced that all copies of Saints Row 4 on PC, Saints Row 4, will automatically be upgraded to the re-elected version free on December 8th. This also applies to the PC exclusive Saints Row 4 Game of the Century edition. So everybody's going to be getting
Game of the Century.
Yeah, so everybody's going to be getting the re-elected edition with all those extras and stuff for free. So hey, thanks Deep Silver for
That's nice.
Providing that. Yeah, I mean, maybe that was kind of their way of going.
I haven't played any of those since the first one.
A game that's
made its money. Forever.
I just got 4 this week. I used to have it on PS3, and I never played it. And I got the remastered version. I've been looking for it. Looked for it at Torg, couldn't find it. So I just ordered it, and I think I got it for like $11 or something like that.
Listen,
so I just got it. So.
All you got to play is the Saints Row reboot. Literally the best game to come out for the entire year. It has everything to offer to everybody. It's like GTA 5 on steroids. Fun. Check it out, and if you're woke, you'll love it.
And woke politics.
Obviously, I'm joking, by the way.
Yeah, woke politics. I think
that's probably.
Maybe that's why they did it, because it was kind of like, hey, this is. That game sucked so bad, but guess what? You already have this one, so we're going to give you some stuff for free. So.
I think the whole debacle with that makes me not even want to go back and care about any of them. There's too many games. I just don't care.
Well, that's what's happening with Halo. I know I mention it every week, but
same thing with Halo. I didn't even finish Halo, and I love Halo.
I was scrolling through Steam today, and I seen it was like Halo Infinite free, and I'm like, meh, next.
Well, the other thing is that woke piece of shit TV show also turned a lot of fans off too. So they're just like, I'm done. Master Chief's dead. Next. So now they're looking for the next thing. And that next thing might just be Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Yes.
Was slated for August 23, 2023 release. So
Mirage.
Valhalla was actually released, believe it or not, 2 years ago. And this used to be an annual release. So that's kind of cool. And I heard that there was like a tie-in somehow.
I can speak on the Mirage stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
So Valhalla was the only game I got with the Series X when it launched. It's my favorite Assassin's Creed now. The only thing I'm interested with this is that they're going back to like the original style of Assassin's Creed, which I didn't like, was not a fan. But they said they're going to do like a mix of that.
Canceled.
I hate Assassin's Creed 1 through 3. Hate it. But they're going back to a style of that and mixing in like the Origins and Valhalla type gameplay too. At the same time, they said they're leaning towards original Assassin's Creed. Like they want to bring back those fans to the series. It's a totally different series now, like just not the same style of game. So I don't know, but I'm going to try it out. I love Valhalla, so.
I need to try a new one, I guess. I mean, I really liked like the original Assassin's Creed. The concept of it's really awesome. Just that assassin sneaking around, taking people out. I always liked that in earlier games and stuff, but I just never really gave it good enough chance. I guess too much other shit was going on playing other stuff.
What was the one in between Origins and Valhalla? Was that Odyssey?
Yeah.
Odyssey, yeah. I didn't play that one.
I started playing Origins because that was Egypt, and that I was really digging that one. And then I bought the next one, and it's just sitting over there on the shelf. I never even touched it. And Valhalla, I haven't even bought it.
Well, I played Origins. I played through Origins. didn't play Odyssey, but played through Valhalla. I haven't touched any DLC, so I can't speak on that. But I loved the time I spent. It's the last game I put over 100 hours into, so that's speaking something for me.
Jesus.
Like, yeah, I haven't put that kind of time in anything since Breath of the Wild came out. So,
And any Assassin's Creed for you, Chris?
I've never played Assassin's Creed. I actually got to 7th gen late. I was like, I'm a 6th gen and before person. I'm not going to get into this modern stuff. I got a garage sale. The guy had a box PS3, a stack of like 12 games, $65. I was like, well, you'd be an idiot to pass that up.
Right.
I brought it home. First game on the stack, from lying, I'm dying, was The Last of Us. I popped that in, played through that like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, I kind of like this modern stuff. Next game on the stack, Uncharted. Threw that one in. Then we ran through that
there
series.
you go.
And I just never got to the Assassin's Creed. I started Assassin's Creed Origins. But man, when you guys are talking about putting, 80 to 100 hours into one of these games, it's like, you want to invest
it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. That's so seldom for me now. Like, so seldom. That's like a 4-year gap from Breath of the Wild to Valhalla. So it's not very often.
That's not something that you can play, put down for a couple months, and then come back to because you forget how to craft stuff, how to move in the game. You know what I mean? So you've got to be locked into that and committed to it.
So here you go, Chris. Here you go. Check this one out. You're talking about a couple hundred hours into a game. So when Conan Exiles came out, free on PlayStation, I put in 1,800 hours into that game in 1 year.
Wow.
1 year, right? It's online game only, so everything like our clan, we had to have a clan because if you don't, you're not playing that game really at all. So basically, I would come home, I would farm supplies for the clan to play during the day. I'd make sure nobody blew our stuff up at night, and then once you stop playing for 7 days, everything you did on that game is completely gone.
Oh.
So now if I log on to Conan Exiles, literally the only thing I have is like a couple level 60 characters with whatever gear that I have on me. Because I hid my characters at least, so I can log back on and still have a little bit of stuff to start with. But yeah, that 1,800 hours in 1 year, man, I'll never do that again.
My buddy put in 92,000 hours in the World of Warcraft.
92,000?
Oh, those are low. You got to bump those numbers up.
Yeah, you got to pump those numbers.
You've had 2 decades to play that.
Get out of here. Get out of here. I think he only played it for like 4 years, too. That's
all?
A lot of time.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of time.
Those are like MMOs in general, though. They're huge time sinks.
That's why I don't play them anymore.
Investment. That is an investment. I'll say.
Big time.
Yeah, but
I'm actually curious, Chris. Like I know you run through friggin' Nintendo games like crazy. What's like an average time to get through a Nintendo game? I mean, I know there's like different scales, obviously.
Yeah, I guess it depends. I put a lot of time into like Battletoads. Battletoads is absolutely brutal.
Yes.
That's one of the worst.
A hard game, yeah.
It continues, and let's be honest, I've been playing that game for 30 years because I used to rent it when I was a kid, This year I finally sat down and wanted to play it and get through it and do it naturally, play every level, just get really good at every single level.
Right.
That's
Still hasn't happened yet.
No, yeah, I wouldn't repeat it.
It's a hard game.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's a time investment, but
that one for sure.
It's in those bursts, you know what I mean? Because you get 3 continues. I'm gonna go to the grocery store, come back, play again. It's not one of these games where you got to put in hundreds of hours. I would say probably I really sat down and tried to play it 2 weekends.
Okay.
Ninja Gaiden 3, I thought I beat that this year. I thought that was easy. We were talking about this earlier. This is the game that I wanted to like kick kittens in my neighborhood.
Kill them all. Kill them all.
Brutal for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? So
right.
It just kind of depends. Something like Ninja Gaiden 2, it's a little bit easier. You get unlimited continues. Wouldn't say it's a day game, but you could probably beat that in a couple days. Something like Wampum, it's a generic kind of Mega Man clone.
Nice.
You're gonna beat that in a couple hours. So it really, Little Mermaid is it's a kids game. It's a Disney game. It looks great, sounds great, but you're probably gonna beat it the first time you play it in about 20 minutes.
Gotcha. Right.
I was thinking, I saw it on your shirt. I was thinking like the quickest game that I ever beat I know based on Steam, it took me 71 minutes, was the Star Wars Episode 1 Racer that came out like back on the 64.
Yeah.
Easy game to beat, but when I played it as a kid on the 64, I struggled in like the last like 4 or 5 levels. Then like 15 years later, I'm like, this is easy. Why was I struggling with this game?
Yeah, I never made it very far in that game either when I was a kid.
That's such a good game, though. I really actually do enjoy the racing in that game.
Yeah, it's pretty good if you're not using the destroyed joystick controller. Apparently.
Yeah, you better have a tight stick.
It helps.
I have it for the Dreamcast because I did have it for the Nintendo 64, and it is much smoother and prettier on the Dreamcast. And I know that they came out with that one for the HD version for the PS4 and Xbox One and stuff. I have not seen that one. Yeah, I'd like to check that one out too, because I'll bet that's just.
It looks the same. That's what I got on Steam. They just essentially just re-released it, up the graphics for new systems and new TVs, but it looks and plays exactly the same.
Yeah. Well, at least you can pop it in a modern system instead of having to go. Well, let's get the retro tink out and pop it in.
Hey, at least now
or whatever.
If you're playing it on console, multiplayer over the internet's like a thing, so you don't have to be down on an even tinier screen on a CRT.
Yeah, my best friend does not live next door anymore, so
yeah, it makes it a little harder.
Oh,
hey, you
more
gotta
couch
come on over.
co-op.
Shit! I guess I gotta play with my wife.
Sounds terrible.
It's terrible.
Only game my wife ever wanted to play was Red Dead 2. She watched me play it, and she's like, "I think I could play this game." So I'm gonna have to set her up and let her play that one. I'm gonna put you on stream. And then we're gonna get all kind of viewers. Yeah, I'm gonna make her stream it one day.
Stream her struggling it.
I bought that game and I still never put it in yet.
I want to.
Red Dead 2?
Yeah, never put it in yet. And my best friend,
my God,
Greg,
bro,
he was just like, "You still haven't played it? Oh my gosh!" And I'm like, "Yeah."
I'm gonna tell you, when you get around to it, it's still gonna be a great game.
Yeah, right.
Like, it is just a good game, 100%. Like, I played the original Red Dead back in the day on the original Xbox, and that was always one of my favorite. I loved that Red Dead game. Just a Western style of it. You don't get any other really good games that way. There was a couple, like Gun, I think was a good one.
Gun was decent.
Yeah, but there wasn't nothing like Red Dead. And then when they did Red Dead 2, man, Rockstar knocked it out of the park. I enjoy the story mode, like, insanely well out of that game. I don't get online with it. I don't play online Red Dead at all. But that story mode, I'd play through that one again.
Yeah, he did tell me, because it took me a while to get through the first one. What was technically the second one, because there was Red Dead Revolver, then Red Dead Redemption.
Right.
But Redemption, it took me a while to finish it, and then my son finished it before I did, and he thought he was done. And then my buddy was over, and he goes, "No, you haven't finished it yet." And so my son picks it up, puts it in, he goes, "Oh, I thought I was done." And then he finished it, and I was like, okay. But yeah, I maybe I just bite the bullet and go ahead and put it in one of these days, and maybe I should record it or stream it, because somebody might sit there and go, "Hey, look at this idiot playing this game." It's
probably one of the
how old is that game now?
best looking games I've ever played.
How old
like
is
just
that game
I spent
now?
more
Like
time
5 years
riding
old?
around on my horse looking at scenery and shit than I did actually doing like story mode stuff. I'm not sure when it came out. I could look it up right quick, but I'm not
Yeah, I don't.
100%
Which
on
game?
that. Red Dead 2.
Redemption 2.
That was a fun one. I like
See,
that
everybody
game.
played it but me. Heck,
I,
bet
I don't recommend the online, but the game.
Exactly,
base
that's what I was
the
saying.
base game.
Oh, shit, it came out 2018, dude. Good God.
I got that when I had.
Wow, I
got
got
my
that on the head.
Yeah, I got my Xbox One 2 years before the Series X. So yeah, 2018. Crazy.
Is there like a version of Red Dead 2 that comes with like all the DLC already, or is it just like the regular version? I've never played it.
So
Digitally.
Well, I think you can just buy the actual copy of it, and it comes with all the DLCs. I mean, I haven't had to buy any extra DLCs or anything for it. I think mainly all the updates and stuff came out was all just for the online stuff. I don't think they actually added a whole lot into the actual base game.
Good question. I'm not sure actually.
I don't recall. I mean, I definitely don't recall while I was playing it them talking about anything coming out for like the story mode.
There is stuff that came out because I remember going back and I didn't mess with online, but probably nothing major that I can even think of. So,
but I don't think they've done like a definitive edition or like Game of the Year edition or anything like that yet at all. Like nothing. They haven't released any extra edition of it yet.
But I don't know if you saw. they talked about bringing a remastered version of 1 over to the
I would
PS5
play it
Series
again.
X. Oh, I never played it, so I would for sure be down. I wish they would bring back God, what is it?
It was
Red Dead
janky, man. It
Revolver.
was
We need
so
a-
janky on the
I-
Xbox, though.
I
I remember
love
it
Red
was so
Revolver.
good.
Yeah, we need a remaster of that. That game, they talk about a jank fest. That game is janky now. I went back to it this year. Just check it out. I think I was testing something, but
Yeah.
it's a jank fest, but it was a good game.
And just to think
Yeah.
that that's what evolved into, Red Dead Redemption and 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Because that game kind of reminds me, well, I mean, I know Samurai Western is a Western, but it kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of Samurai Western in a way, but it, like you said, it's a little more on the janky side.
Mhm.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. I mean,
It wasn't terrible, no.
it sold really well, and it was like one of the very first games that actually kind of went into that, that Western kind of thing and did what it did. But then when
Yep.
I think they must have been sitting around at Rockstar and said, okay, that went well. What are we going to do now? Screw it. Let's just take the horses into Grand Theft Auto. And that's what they did. But it's not just Grand Theft Auto on horseback. So
Just do something with the Manhunt series, and then I'll care when it comes to Rockstar.
I
Like, honestly,
Manhunt and Bully. Those are the
Bully
two
was
they
cool.
need.
Oh,
Bully was
They
cool.
they've actually been talking about. I've heard like rumors about them either remastering Bully or doing another Bully, and I
They
think that
already
would be a really
remastered
great
it one
game. We
time.
played
Yeah.
the shit
Hell
out of
with
that. Yeah, that
They never
remaster wasn't that
remastered.
great.
I'll tell you
No,
the
as a
best
matter
version
fact,
of
it
that
was
game.
buggy.
The Wii version, Scholarship Edition, it's the best way to play that game. I'll stand on the ground for that. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, they should bring those back. I mean, franchises that they're sitting on that people want. Come on.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
one of
yeah,
the news
I replayed the Tony Hawk thing the other day on the Switch, and I was just not a huge fan of it. It was not
that
like,
ride. Was
no,
it Ride?
the remake of 1 and 2 they did, the remaster or whatever of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 on the Switch.
Yeah, I haven't played.
I'm like,
it,
I'll
so I don't
just
know.
hook my if I want to play that, I'll just hook my PS2 back up and play that. Like
It was a PS Plus game, so I might try it on the PS5 at some point. But
Well, before we get into our next segment, you said you had a couple other news pieces. What'd you have, Brandon?
yeah, so nothing crazy. I did want to recognize about Jerry Lawson's
wasn't
birthday and
Yes,
Google
yes,
recognizing
yes.
that. That was the biggest part that it got recognized. And I mean, like
good
everybody
old
knows,
Jerry.
we wouldn't have video game collecting if it weren't for him. Who knows what cartridge-based media would have been like? So pretty cool to have that. And it was actually like fun.
I thought it was really awesome that you could actually click on it and actually play his games
Yeah.
that he made and some of his prototype games. I was actually doing that shit at work when we got a little slow for a minute.
Yeah, I
But
was too.
like it was really cool going back and playing some of those old school games, and like they were pretty full games. Like you could really run through stuff, and like it's just right there on Google for you. And like then I was like, that's cool, that's awesome. They need to do that more often, especially people like that. That man did not get enough recognition back in the day, and as much as I hate to say it, but I guarantee it's the color of his skin back then is
Yeah.
the reason that he got pushed aside and everybody else got pushed forward. But damn, man, I'm so glad they finally, show his
Recognize it in a
achievements. Yeah,
public,
exactly.
public way. Yeah, I agree. Other news, which was actually a relatively big one because nobody saw us coming. Sonic Frontiers is getting a wave of DLC over time for the next 365 days. They're getting
Good.
some costume stuff, some basic stuff, but at the very end, which I think will be December next year, it gets a full new story DLC, a full new thing. It's all free. But there's
Okay,
three.
I was about to say, what are we going to jump on the subscription train here and fucking buy a subscription to Sonic now? Like, get out of here. Buy the season pass for Sonic Frontiers. No, thank you.
It had a little bit of controversy that people. I mean, nobody
I'm sure
knows.
I'm sure a bunch of people jumped in and probably thought that's what it would be because that's exactly as soon as you
Well-
said that, my brain was like, oh shit, here we go, cha-ching.
Yeah,
I
right.
think that what was brought up, but this goes on with everything now, so we're kind of used to it, was that
Mhm.
it's probably content that should have already been in the game because the game's kind of fared okay. It's got issues, especially the Switch version. But I think that it's I guess the consensus is kind of empty. There's not a lot to do. There's no post game stuff. There's it's just the world feels kind of empty. They think it was stuff that should have already been in the game. But I mean, it is free and it gives you a reason to go back to it. So
That's
I mean,
good.
I don't Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Maybe people would get down
it's
on
fine
it.
to me. Yeah. Two other things. This one I don't care about at all, but let's acknowledge it. Fortnite Chapter 3 ends, which concludes forget what the stuff.
I mean,
whatever.
you got to give Fortnite
entity-
credit for what it is. I mean,
It's
I'm not
the
a
only
fan of
video
it
game
myself,
in history that has brought so many different types of media, everything. I mean,
People,
it's had
just people
everything.
in general,
Just people
like,
in general.
It's
kids,
all that money.
Like, I mean, it is
shelling
literally
out.
kids crack these days. So me and Shane were out actually at a local event, doing our little vendor thing out here, in Commerce yesterday, and we were talking to a lot of people coming through, and like you see all these kids walking through and looking at the stuff, and of course we've got Nintendo games and Super Nintendo games, Sega stuff out there for sale, and all these kids are looking at this like, what is all this stuff? We're talking to them about it. We're like, what do you like to play? Fortnite. Every single kid, every single one of them, without fail, Fortnite. They started talking about Fortnite. Did you know the season's ending? I was actually on my Switch on the way over here waiting on the season to end, and then we had to get out, and I'm looking at your games. It's like Fortnite, I give them credit. They freaking they got the formula down.
It's
They know what
like
they're
it's
doing.
taken over what like Minecraft was for like 10 years. That's like
Thank
all
you.
kids would talk
Yeah.
about. It's like the new
Right.
Minecraft, as far as like
True.
the most popular game that kids play now.
Yep.
That is definitely, I guarantee you, if you do a poll, that is 100% the most popular game kids play.
Probably.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's actually so much shit you can do in the game though. It's not just like getting there battle royale anymore. It's like you can build your own maps. You can actually, like, my son was playing one of his friends' games that he made. It was like a pinball game. You're riding the little balls, and they made a track. You bounce down the little. I don't know. It's so much stuff involved in it now. Besides just
Yeah.
like the battle royale version of it.
Or you just get.
I know. It had like a whirlwind of people come into it recently because they did like a no build mode or something. That was like
Yep.
always my issue with the game. I
Brandon
don't
can't
build
build
the game.
I had that conversation with a dad last night. It's like I played Fortnite up to like season 3 or 4 maybe, but like to the point where you shoot somebody and they literally build like a 5-story house
Yeah.
around them. What are we doing? Like I thought we
Yeah,
were doing a
it's
gunfight
too
here.
much.
Like now all of a sudden
It's
you're a
too much.
carpenter.
I don't want you to shoot me. I want to go hide in my house.
Yeah, right. And then they
Uh,
got like, I mean, if you watch like I say pro players play that game, like it is insane the shit they can do with that build mode stuff.
the
Like
building
they'll
stuff.
trap you in a house, throw a trap in the house, and kill you that way without even having to pull the trigger. It's like, what?
in
did
like
you just
5
do?
seconds. Yeah, it's crazy. Last thing that I had here that I added on was Street Fighter 6 is going to have an open beta now instead of just going straight into the game. People
that's
get
smart.
to access that for free.
Good
Yeah,
idea.
and it obviously that can work out bugs and any issues.
I'm just saying nobody can find bugs better than letting people play the game for free and tell you what's
agree.
wrong with it.
So
Yep.
that
I
you
agree.
can know what you're gonna get criticized when you release your game.
Mm-hmm.
Have those
Yeah,
tweets ready
I
to go.
wonder how many times developers like that do that, and they hear like they're reading all the feedback and stuff. I wonder how many times they've actually had to read through this particular phrase, "piece of shit." So your game's
There's got to be like a filter. You got to have some kind of AI filter to give you like the real shit.
That's not like legit criticism though.
Yeah.
That's like that's
I-
kind of the criticism you want with a beta, though, right? They're not
No,
gonna-
you want like say what is the exact bugs you ran into, the exact issues
Right.
with the
Right.
game. That's helpful. If you say
Right.
it's a terrible game, that's pointless. It doesn't do anything for the
Mhm.
developer.
You can be more specific.
Right.
Yeah.
Your game is a
That's
piece
like-
of shit. Say, I can stand in the corner with Ryu, just throw a jab, and for some reason, nobody can
Win
stop that. You know
constantly.
what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we're here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saying the game's a piece of crap's just an opinion. You're not giving anything constructive to let us know, hey, we got
That's
to
that-
improve this, we got to
That's
improve
that block button the developer hits every time he reads one of those comments. Just I'm never listening to you again. Next,
And yeah,
blah.
and there
That-
goes
that
Chad.
game-
Bye-bye, Chad.
that- Street Fighter 6 looks really, really good. So
I've seen some
on that
good
one.
videos on it. It looks
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah.
It looks pretty
I-
good.
It's
They
got
haven't
a,
showed me enough gameplay on it though. You can show me all the cinematics and
Oh,
everything you want, but until you
well,
show me some like
It's had a closed
full-blown,
beta.
like,
I watched
2 people playing.
I watched my buddy stream it for like 4. I didn't watch the whole thing, but he streamed it for like 4 hours. He got into the beta.
Right.
I mean, it looks solid. They have a closed beta now for like a month. So I mean, it's pro players getting in playing it. People that do competitions. I haven't heard anything negative. Not a single thing. Like I haven't heard any.
I mean, it's
complaints,
been out long
so-
enough now. They Street Fighter knows the formula. You know, just like Chris said, hell, they've had that shit down from Street Fighter 2, man. Like, you know, they know what they're doing.
Been working on these games for like 25 years. Why would you run into issues now?
Right. I mean, like, the biggest thing now is just really figuring out all the small little, you know, balancing issues with characters and stuff, because you can't have an overpowered character in those kind of games, or else you're going to get called on that shit immediately.
Right. Yep.
You know, but there you go. That's where that open beta comes into play.
Absolutely.
Looks like it's time for your harbinger of memes.
Yes.
Because I'm
Harbinger
done
of
with
memes,
news
baby.
here. Let's
Nice.
Mark. Hey, Mark, you got to hit the watch stream there so viewers can see.
There we go.
Harbinger.
It's got no audio. Just
That'd
one,
be all right. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
All right. Let's pop out
First
here.
meme is...
Our first meme is... That's right. Here we go. I'm a big Escape from New York fan, and when Shane shared that with us, and thank you, Shane. When Shane shared that with us this afternoon, I saw that and I cracked up.
Control-Alt-Delete from New York.
That's pretty goddamn funny, though. I love it. Yeah, I was laughing for like 5 minutes. I'm like, come on, man.
Bronchitis is killing me, but that is funny as shit.
But
Yeah,
actually, what
I
was
love
funny
it.
was Brandon messages me. He goes, "You bet you wish you had a keyboard like that." And I go, "Dude, that looks like the Rocketfish Bluetooth keyboard that I had that I gave to a friend of mine. It looks just like it." I was like, "Holy shit!" So yeah, that's pretty
amazing.
That's pretty damn funny. I love that. All right, let's pop out of this.
That was just his heyday back then as well. I think, like, you know, he tries to bring that character back, but like him with an eye patch as well. Like, I mean, Captain Ron is probably one of his best movies in my
I
opinion.
love that movie, bro.
See,
Gorillas, not gorillas.
Oh man, yeah. I'll have Olivia Munn come over here anytime. I'll be down for that.
Christmas
Invitation is
Munn,
always
not a
open.
moron. Oh my
This
God.
Christmas, be a mun, not a moron.
God, I miss old G4, man.
Oh,
Old
I mean,
G4,
I missed
yeah.
the new G4. They could have done something if Frost wouldn't have fucking. You
I'll
know.
be honest with you, I never saw
Well,
a single
we've
thing
talked
from
about
the
it enough.
G4.
It could have been fine. Could have been fine.
If they would have kept their
We'll never know
stupid
now.
politics out of it, then maybe. But
Politics
I
do
just-
not belong
Listen,
in gaming.
Scott, let's be fair. You don't keep your politics out of gaming either. So let's play devil's advocate. You don't. I'm just being
I
honest.
creep
Every
I don't-
now and then, we'll let him go on a rant every now and then.
Well, but what we're talking about a show. We're not talking about a game. About
Look at
gaming.
that
I mean,
lion on her neck, or what the fuck is that?
That's her hair.
No, there's
Oh,
like
you
a,
talking about Frost over here?
Yeah,
it's a
it's got like
splotch. It's a splotch of shit. That's what it
looks
is.
like it. It looks like it.
It's
You
got
know
a
what that
beak.
really looks? No, I know exactly what that is.
What
That
is
is that's misandrist hatred. That's what that is. So
Well, whatever that means. It sounds like Frost. So
yeah, that's man hating hatred. So yeah,
He
there's
man
our-
woman hater.
listen, I
That's
hate
exactly
men too,
right.
but
Sure.
I'm gonna get back to the little rascals.
yeah.
All right,
Nice.
so there's our harbinger of memes for this week.
Good meme.
Thank you, Olivia Munn, for being so beautiful, and thank you, Shane, for sending us Mr. Snake Plissken, who has to hit Control-Delete so he does not get his ass erased in New York.
I need to go back and watch some of his old movies for real though. He had some good stuff back in the day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah,
Unlawful Entry, man. Madeline Stowe, Ray Liotta. Woo. Awesome movie.
nice.
I have never seen that one.
Awesome.
Don't kill me for saying this, but no, God, he wasn't.
No,
I
go
can't
ahead,
remember
go
that
ahead.
Say
actor's name.
Say it, Brandon.
Roadhouse. I can't remember it. It was
No, that
no,
was
that's Patrick Swayze.
Patrick
Patrick
Swayze.
Swayze.
But
Okay,
I
yeah,
could see why
yeah.
you would think that.
Yeah.
I could see why you would think that, though. Yeah.
It's been a
Nice.
long, long time since I've seen that. But yeah.
Was the shit? I'll probably be wrong now, but Tango and Cash. You know,
You know, I have
That
that,
was
movie
great.
and I haven't watched it yet. I heard that was great.
Tango. You haven't watched Tango and Cash?
I have,
you need
I have it out there in the living room. Haven't watched it.
grab some
Good
popcorn and
movie.
check that one out. That's worth it.
Yeah. I got that on a set that like,
Bar.
it's got Cobra and a couple other Stallone movies on it. I'm like, well, I've seen Cobra. I was like,
Cobra. Love Cobra.
yeah. Cobra's fantastic.
Such a cheesy shit but fun movie.
I mean, Cobra's just Demolition Man on crack.
What's
So,
your genre of movie,
Demolition Man.
Chris? If you're gonna just sit down and pop something in, you like the old school movies? You like anything new?
Listen, you gotta stay true to the classics, man. I was born in '78, so I'm a child of the '80s and '90s. So the action movie, the Van Dammes, the Schwarzeneggers, the Stallones, all the
Nice
great,
little Universal Soldier in there.
yeah, all that great stuff, man. And it's like when men were men and feminists were scared. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I love that.
Don't
Yeah,
watch
man.
The Expendables 3.
Stuff
Oh,
better
saying.
than 80s
Yeah.
action. I mean, come on.
right.
Yep.
Stupid puns and the over-the-top explosions and
Hey, watch
Well, like
Jim
the
all the
Van
way
Damme-
this season.
in a Van Damme movie, there was always that classic where he would throw a kick, he'd jump and spin, do the splits, throw a kick, and then they'd show the same damn kick from 3 different angles.
Yes.
Yep. Ah.
Oh, Bloodsport was some of my shit back in the day,
I
man. I
love
love
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. What was the other one? What was the other good karate movies? There was Best of the Best. That was a good one back in the day. Yep.
See, I there were some of the earlier Stallone, not Stallone, Seagal ones I liked, like
So
like Mark
cringe
for
now.
well, yeah, but I mean, but especially his newer stuff, but like Marked for Death
Three
and
Ninjas. Get out of here.
Out for Justice, Out for Justice.
Put my
man.
headphones back on. Huh?
Above the Law, Under Siege.
Above the Law,
Mm.
yeah. Under
Yeah.
Siege, even Under Siege 2 was decent. Once you got past like Glimmerman and there was another one around there, then it was all over. It's like Stallone, you're done. Oh yeah, what was the one with DMX in it?
I don't
I
know.
can't remember it right now.
But this box
Rest
art,
in peace, DMX.
Seagal essentially played the same character. Like,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
it says,
You hired
He's
Seagal
always-
to play Seagal in your movies.
says, meet Nico. He's a cop with an attitude. You know, it's
He's
like,
always Nico
He's
or
always a
Gino.
cop with an attitude.
Yeah, he's so hard
Oh.
for me to go back to and watch. I liked him in movies years and years ago too, but God, I cannot. He's just so goddamn cringe, dude. The guy is just.
That's what's,
he
aw-
says he
that's what's
knows-
awesome about
he
it.
says he knows like he's a black belt in jujitsu, karate.
Little does
kung
Brandon know he
fu.
will fuck Brandon up.
I
Yeah,
bet,
see,
man.
I
Did you
I
see-
look at
Did you see
I
where
look
he's
at Seagal-
teaching that point of death martial arts where
Oh,
you
no.
touch them? Yes. Yeah, you touch them and it knocks them to the floor. That's where
yeah,
he
but
lost me.
first you have to touch his hamburger though.
all I know is in those movies, you got somebody throws a punch, he goes over the shoulder, that breaks their elbow,
Oh yes,
he throws them into like a glass china cabinet that just happens to randomly be in the crack house.
right.
It makes for awesome cinema, bro.
Actually breaking arms though.
Yeah.
If you have not seen my classic game room tribute on my channel, there's a 3-parter, but in the second part where I review Golden Axe Beast Rider, there's a part where the main character in that game, she's surrounded by all these people and stuff like that, and I do a side-by-side comparison of that scene along to the scene in Out for Justice when he's in the deli. So you'll actually see up top on the screen, you'll see Out for Justice, and down below you'll see Golden Axe, and it's side by side them just like kicking ass and stuff. So and of course
Nice.
my commentary right alongside of it. My wife's like, "Where the hell did you come up with this?" I'm like, "I'm playing the game, and all of a sudden all these people just came out of nowhere, tried to kick my ass, so I stopped in the ground. I thought I was Steven Seagal. That's where I thought of it." So
Yeah.
Some
That's
good shit.
funny.
So,
Well-
Chris had given us actually a couple things that he wanted to talk about. And one of them was, what were some of the games that we beat in 2022? Chris, what did you
shit,
beat
here we
this year?
go.
No, I beat 57 sort of new adventures. I don't count the Mega Mans and stuff I've already beaten before. So we ran through a bunch of games, but I will give you 2 sort of my hidden gemmy type games that I didn't really know anything about, but had a great time with. Ninja Gaiden Dragon Sword on the DS.
Okay.
Hmm.
It's
My
not
favorite
very-
ninja guy.
It's not very difficult. It's actually a
Mm.
pretty easy game to get through. And then let me find.
I got to play that.
And then
It's amazing.
Xexes on the NES. Now, looking at that cover art, you'd be like, "What in the hell is that?"
Yeah,
It's a
Hudson
little-
Soft though.
It's a little bit platformer, a little bit shooter, so it's like spaceship shooter. So
Okay.
very, very cool game. It's kind of
Never heard of it.
My first NES game.
And it's cool. And then you get to the side inside the little castle or the dungeon or whatever, and you kind of explore. You go into a shooting phase, boss, wash, rinse, repeat, and yeah, it's really cool and it's pretty cheap too.
Nice.
Cool.
Check that one out for sure. So games beat in 2022.
Yeah,
I don't think I've beat anything. I think I've got a lot of shit that I've started and never finished. I'm trying to think. I don't recall seeing credit screens this year at all.
Let me look. I've only beat a couple as well. I beat the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga that came out. Did beat that. Ran through all 3 stories. Metroid Samus Returns. I finally finished it this year. And
Mine still has the wrapper on it.
the Link's Awakening remake. I know there's something else because Far Cry 6. I think that's all I beat this year. 4 games, so
I'm still trying to think, man. I just don't.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It's
Like
not
I'll start
enough
so much
time.
stuff.
that's what I did, Tony. I think me and you are the same with that. It's always get like God of War. I started it.
Well, and,
A week later,
like we were talking about
Pokemon
earlier,
comes
know,
out.
a lot of these newer games, if you don't sink 80 to 100 hours in, you're not really going to beat the game anyway. The newer stuff, And I don't really have a lot of my older stuff hooked up. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of room here to keep all that stuff hooked up. So it's, typically I'm either playing something I just downloaded on PC or, PS5, on my PS5. So
Yeah, I did beat what is it? On the Genesis, the Rocket game. What's his name? Can't remember.
Rocket Knight Adventures.
Yeah, Rocket Knight Adventures. Yeah, I beat that first one on Genesis on the Switch Online.
That's a hard game.
It is a hard game. And then I went and beat, I guess it would have been this year too, the 360 game that came out. I don't know if you guys seen that, but it was a Xbox Live only games, like their arcade stuff.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
it's a whole new 3D adventure that I'll probably get shot for saying this. Rocket Knight was one of my first games for Genesis, and I love it. But that game it's top tier, and it's never been ported to anything.
It's great. It's a great
It's
game.
never
But
been
it's an expensive game.
Yeah. So that's a good one to check out.
actually, I did play through Turtles in Time on that Switch on the Cowabunga collection.
Oh,
Nice.
that's Shredder's
I don't think I've
Revenge.
ever actually. I don't think I've ever actually seen the ending screen for Turtles in Time. I never actually played through it, as a kid or anything. We played in arcade a lot, but we never just actually played through it. So it was kind of nice to actually be able to play through with unlimited continues and stuff, and actually get to the final boss and beat Shredder. It was kind of cool.
Shredder's Revenge, the only game I've ever beat on stream. So I streamed that whole thing when it came out.
Nice.
But Tony, check out those
I did
Game Boy
Hellblade.
games on there. Hellblade, yeah.
Yeah, I did Hellblade on stream. That's what got me an ending credit. The song for the ending credits got me a flag on Facebook for copyright.
Nice.
Stupid.
For what?
Hellblade.
Why did they copyright strike you?
Because the ending credits started playing and I went off camera and I just let it play through the credit screen.
Oh,
So I wasn't
talking.
on camera at the same time.
You're
I
on
wasn't talking
camera.
as the song was playing, so it just damn copyrighted it.
Okay,
It blanked out like the last 7 minutes of the stream. You couldn't hear it.
gotcha. Well, at least they
Yeah.
blanked it out for you. So, but let's see.
Do you ever
Very
run into
fun-
any of that kind of shit on stream, Chris, at all?
Yeah,
With the NES games, I'm sure like those bleeps and blips sometimes throw off copyrights ridiculously.
No, it's usually when I stream a modern game like Horizon Chase Turbo. I love Arcade Racer.
Oh yes.
Great
Top
game.
Gun, Half Genie Hero, Need for Speed Rivals. Every time Uncharted, Last of Us. Every time I stream those, it gets pegged out for copyright for sure.
Yeah.
I did have any of you guys play this one?
I have not.
No.
Yoku's no, but I have it, but I haven't played it. I played the first game.
This game is like a pinball game, but it also plays like a Metroid game. So you collect these fruits and then you unlock different flippers and it takes you up, to like the ice level and you get an item. And you have to go all the way back down the table to the jungle where the item that you got in the ice level does something over here. It is very cool, very cheap. You can't really
Sounds like a
die.
little Sonic spinball.
That's pretty sweet. You're gonna beat the games and see the end credits in like 2 or 3 hours, maybe. But if you
Okay.
try to 100% it and get everything, it's gonna take about 6 to 8. So it's kind of a modern game that's pretty short.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's like Hellblade. So Hellblade is I don't know if you've heard of that one at all, but it's only about a 9-hour playthrough, 8 or 9 hours total. but really great psychological game.
That's a perfect amount of time.
Right, I agree with that, and it didn't feel like it was overbearing. It didn't repeat itself very much. Like the combat was kind of stale. It was almost the same combat through the whole game. You didn't really upgrade much in there, but like just the puzzle aspect of it mixed with a little bit of combat that you did do. And I don't know if you've heard much about Hellblade at all, but if you play that game ever, do it with headphones on, because it's very. They designed it to where it's got extra sounds coming through your headphones, so you get in the realm of her psychosis that she has, and it's really fucking good game for 8 hours.
That's pretty.
Hellblade, really?
Yeah, Hellblade is amazing.
I think. Do I have? I think I have that.
Highly
Or I
recommend
think
that
I
game to
played.
anybody who's got 8 hours to put into something like that.
Yeah, that's something to probably stream. You know what I mean? Just sit
Yeah,
down
it's
and
good.
stream it.
Let's see. I know, contrary to popular belief, not every single person who reviews games out there goes all the way through the entire game. Some people do, but I am not IGN. I do not have 15, 16 people sitting there playing games, and each person gets to play. I mean, it's me, and I'm the only person playing. But there have been a couple that I have gotten either all the way through or this close to the end this year. And let's see. I did finish Saw the video game this year. And then Resident Evil 2 remake. That was actually the second time I did that one, but that was this year. Ghostbusters remastered. I did that one on the Series X this year. Before I did that on the PS4. And then Lollipop Chainsaw. That was I had to look. That was this year that I got all the way through that one.
That game's getting a little,
And then,
that game's getting a little bit expensive.
It is, but especially if you're getting it for the PS3, and I don't know why sometimes that is, because of the PS3 version, usually $80, $90, but the Xbox 360 version, this year I actually still saw ones still wrapped going for right around $40, and I was like, really? $40? That's it?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, still wrapped. There's some that I've come really close to, but I haven't gotten all the way through yet, like I mentioned that Golden Axe Beast Rider. That game is not as horrible as some people make it out to be. It is a little glitchy here and there, but it's actually a halfway decent game. I think too many people were expecting it to be Golden Axe. They meant it. They wanted it to be this game that they had from the Sega Genesis and the arcades, and it's just not. It's not the same thing. You got to take it for face value. If they would have changed the name on that and called it something completely different, I think maybe people might have given it a bigger break as opposed to, oh, that's a piece of crap. Good Lord, I'm trying to remember. I'm over halfway through Sniper Elite 5, but I haven't gotten back to that yet. And I think, I'm really close to the end on Fear, the first one, and I'm about 3/4 of the way through on The Evil Within. And as soon as I'm done with those two, I'll be putting reviews out, because those, gosh, I can't believe I let those two games sit there for so long. But the coolest thing about Fear, and I've heard other people say this too, is Fear on the 360 was good, but you put that thing in the Xbox Series X, it's 60 frames per second. It cleans it up, and you got that extra processing power, and it's magnificent. What a great game.
When you finish Fear, you said you finished Fear 1, right?
I'm close.
Okay. Check out Fear Files. Don't skip. That's my favorite one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't own Fear Files, and I don't own 2, but here's the thing. Should I do Files first, or 2 first, or Files last? Files next?
Yeah, I have. Right now, I've played 1 through 3, but right now I have Files and 3. That's it. I need to grab 1 and 2.
See, those were 2 of the ones I was looking for at Torg, and I couldn't find them.
Files is pricey now. Kind of stupid, but it didn't get
It
ported
is.
to anything, and it did go on PS3, so.
I did get hold of Condemned 2, but I didn't get the first one, so but I want to get that one. But I wanted to get it for Xbox. See, that's the thing, is anytime, unless somebody says you have to get it for Xbox versus PS3, just because this version's better. Like if somebody were to say to me, which version of Rainbow Six would you get? Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Rainbow Six Vegas 1? Always the 360, just because you get, well, there's many reasons, but you get to actually use the triggers. You can't remap them. You can't change them on the PS3. You got to use those top bumpers, and I hate that shit. But most games now I like playing them on on the 360 just because it's such an easy system to replace if something happens as opposed to the PS3.
Yeah, they're cheap now too. You can pick up 360s pretty regularly. I mean, if you need a 360 hit marketplace, you can get one for $30-$40 all day long these days.
But a PS3, even even of the third gen PS3,
they're still like 60 to like $80 to $100 for a PS3. It doesn't matter which version you're looking for. Obviously, if you get the backwards compatible one.
Yeah, the only way you can play PS3 games is on PS3s, and how many of those PS3s went bad, got broken, somebody tried to fix it, destroyed it. I was at Maxine's bargain box today, and they had an 80 gig PS3, the 2, not the 4, and they wanted like $100, and I'm like, that's probably a good deal like for PS3s.
I mean, that's what they're going for, sadly. I will give PS3 credit though. One good thing is you can play any of your black label, or not black label, but black disc PS1 games on any version of the PS3s, which is kind of nice. So it does have a little bit of backwards compatibility there, so you don't necessarily have to go for that the $300 version of it.
And even the go ahead, PS3 Chris. Games, like I use my God of War PS3, my third one, you play your PS1 games on it, you can just save right to the
exactly. It makes a virtual memory card for you and everything.
Yeah, it's great.
I grabbed the very first release PS3 was SCHP001, whatever it is, the one that actually has a PS2 inside.
The full backwards compatibility.
Complete in box, and it doesn't work. I'm working on it as we speak.
Oh, it doesn't work.
I got
no.
It will work though. That's the thing. Like it will work. Those things they're easily fixed.
It powers on. Yeah, I'm not getting. I think it's a PSU probably in it, and that's what I'm thinking, just based on the ones I mess with. But even with like the second release,
the one worth putting the money into though.
That's the one. Yeah, they released one after it that emulates PS2 games, so it'll play your disc.
Not the same.
Yeah, not the same.
Yeah,
but
that was the 80
first
gig one.
Yeah. So,
and it wasn't all of them. It was only it was like about, I think, 80% of them. And what it did was it downloaded an update, so it would emulate that particular game, kind of like the same thing they do with the with the
Series X,
the Series X. But with the Series X and stuff, though, that's not just downloading an update, because that's
adding the frame rate and. Yeah.
Well, you're downloading the whole game directly from them.
Right.
Yeah. The whole game. Yeah. But with the backward compatibility on the 360, it grabbed the emulator files and stuff like that for your original or your original Xbox games.
Yeah.
I wish that they would have expanded that a little more though, because there are a lot of great great games out there that got left behind.
Yeah, that list is not very big once you actually really get to digging into it. How the full backwards compatibility for original Xbox isn't
not big at all. But it's more than PlayStation did. So I mean, it's something, and they made zero money on doing that.
But I mean, okay, so I'll give credit to Stephen Wright for this one. I did see his little video earlier today about it, but with the PS3, he was talking about the PS1 backward compatibility with it, which I knew about from having mine back in the day, but I did not know that it actually read international games also, so you could play your Japanese games on your PS3. It'll play your PAL and Japanese games on there also. So I did not know that, and not that I'm digging in any Japanese games myself, but some people might.
Yeah, it was Reddit region free. So that's cool. Yeah, there's a lot about that. First, I kind of get why it's going for as much as it is now. Playing 3 consoles, no emulation,
right?
It's region free. Like it makes sense when you look at like other consoles that just play that small, tiny library, like say the Jaguar or something. This you're playing like a massive fucking library of games. So I get it. It just sucks that they have so many issues. Like there's an app they have for you to control the temperature of the system, like checking the system, make sure it's not overheating. And I mean it's wild. Like it just is notorious for issues. So
there was well, he also had on here games that you were surprised by in 2022. So, Chris,
so
take the lead on that one.
I kind of gave you 3 cheers, right, with Yukis, Dragon Sword, and Zexal. How about like some games that I'm gonna say it. We're a little overrated, overhyped. The first one is Metal Storm. I know people love that game, but kind of boring. I didn't feel it. It's a good game, but it's not all that in a bag of chips girlfriend. Know what I'm saying? Ninja Gaiden 2 again. Did not like that one as much as 1 and 3. It's easier game. There's some quality of life things that they did, but I feel the Shadow Ninja gimmick, it just gets in the way with all the backgrounds and bullets, and there's a reason Tecmo didn't do it again. But yeah, I was very disappointed in that. And yeah, those games kind of surprised me after all you hear about Metal Storm, especially.
Nice.
Storm.
Let's see.
I'm trying to think here. Games that surprised me. Hades was one for sure when I tried that out. I was surprised. I don't like roguelike games. It was kind of cool to see a game like that.
I'll say
Rising kind of surprised me too.
I'll say
Wild
Sea
West?
of Thieves. I haven't played Sea of Thieves at all until this year. And loading that up, playing it with my kids, man, it's actually a blast, man. We have a really good time playing that game. That one's surprisingly good. I'll say that.
I'm trying to think what else. I don't know anything's really.
The ones that really surprised me were, and of course there were ones that there was only one that came out this year that surprised me, and the other two were ones that I had never played before. And actually there's three. Saw kind of surprised me, even though I'd heard a lot bad about it, and I know the Saw 2 is bad. That game just no. But Saw, for what it was, it wasn't horrible. There were a lot of choices I think they made that I think that they were really trying to torture you for real. I don't think that this was a thing where they were trying to make a game more mundane or anything. They were just going, yeah, we're going to make you feel the pain. But the Evil Within, holy shit, what a great game there. And then the one that really surprised me after the updates and everything, as far as I got into it so far, I'm really digging Cyberpunk 2077. I thought it was very beautiful. I didn't see any issues because I had gotten those first few updates. Now my son was playing it. I believe he was playing it on his PC, and it's pretty decked out.
Oh, yeah.
And he recorded some stuff where like floating cars, you'd hit somebody and they just float around, and I thought that was kind of fun. I was just like, well, that'd be kind of cool if you had a PC where you didn't update it, and then you had so that way you could play it either way. Or
Right.
Hey, CD Projekt Red, install a little toggle switch so you can actually have your glitches stay there.
It's like
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, it's like
I've got two more that I can think of after looking over here. I played through. This is probably going to be a weird one. Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the Gamecom. I played through the whole game. I actually thought it was pretty damn fun. Yeah, I thought it was really fun. And then what was the other one I saw? Oh, Curved Space. It's a shmup for like the PS5 Series X. It's a $10 game on Amazon.
Yeah, I
played
got
through
it
that
about
whole
3
thing.
weeks ago.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
I
$10.
haven't touched it yet. I'll check it out.
It took like 3 hours to get through the game, but I mean, you get your money's worth when you pay. It's only like retails for, I think, either 20 or 30. I can't remember, but
I picked mine up, I think,
fun.
for $10.
Yeah,
Yep.
Good deal.
Nice.
Those are the only other ones I can think of. Mark, you got anything?
No. I wasn't
Donkey
paying
Kong.
attention. I spent 20 minutes trying to fix the chat issue.
You good?
Looks like it's working
good.
now.
Games
they
you're surprised by.
As in, like, what
Big-
context?
Any
Either good game, bad game you're surprised by this year that
Something
you
that
played.
surprised you this year. I mean, it doesn't have to be something from this year, but it's something that you might have come across. You're like, damn, I can't believe that was good, or wow, that came out this year and that was pretty good.
No Man's Sky.
Or just played it in general
like a
this year.
5-year-old
Could be an
game.
older game.
I don't know. Nothing, like, immediately comes to mind. I don't know if I played, like, a new game this year so far.
No, any game.
Yeah, any
kind of
game this
game
year.
you
Any
haven't
game that even if it's an
No,
older game you
no,
played that's surprised by.
No game jumps out to me right away, so I might have to probably think about it for a second.
Yeah, no worries, no
All
worries.
right. Yeah,
We hit you last, putting you on the spot now. So
Yeah, right.
Chris,
They're like, oh, I got
Chris
this fixed.
also
Now you
had-
ask me a question.
Chris also had something on here about our 2023 gaming goals. So does anybody have anything on their plate for 2023 that and that kind
PSVR
of
2.
I do.
yeah,
I do.
and that
Tony,
that
just
does
pick
go
one.
that does go into something that we were talking about when we recorded our New Year's Eve special. You know, is it games or consoles for 2023 you're looking forward to playing, buying? Do you have any goals set, collecting goals, anything like that?
I've got
Chris.
a couple, but yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Well, you know, I spend a lot of time playing like Nintendo and then PS2 and PS3 and PS4. So next year I am going to make a very strong effort to play more Super Nintendo games, more 16-bit games, and delve a little bit more into PS1, which I love, and branch off into N64. I think we've all played those core N64 games, Karts and Parties and 60, right? But there are so many really cool games that are on the N64 that aren't necessarily, I guess, like first-party Nintendo games.
Jet Force Gemini.
There's a lot of good ones.
Star Soldier Vanishing Earth is a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up that nobody really talks about. Looks like $1 million on the N64, but yeah, a lot of the rare titles.
Which one was that again?
Star Soldier Vanishing Earth.
Yeah, that one's a little expensive too.
It is. It's getting. I remember I got it at Torg when Torg was at. I want to say, like that hotel.
Yep, in the lobby, that little area.
Yeah, like $20 or something years ago.
Nice.
Yeah. They start making these hidden gems videos, and it gets more exposure, and then when people start collecting more for that console, those games get super expensive. But I want to get into Mischief Makers, and I want to find a copy of Goemon's Great Adventure for N64. Those are kind of the two that I have real high on the list that I want to play. But Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis for sure, because I didn't have a Sega Genesis when I was a kid. So
nice.
Let me just say, I'm
so blessed to have all this stuff, you know.
You said that, and I instantly thought of Biggie Smalls. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis.
I hear that song all the time. It totally rolls through my Spotify list like at least once a week. Every time I had actually a thread on Game Central Station at one point of like songs that mention video games, like just any song that mentions it. But the thread's gone now. I couldn't even find it last time I looked for one. I heard a song on Spotify. I'm like, oh shit, where was that thread? I need to put it on there. But like it's really cool hearing those old, especially a lot of old like rap and hip hop R&B back then mention video games, especially Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega. This is really cool to hear it mentioned.
Yeah. As far as collecting goals, listen, you know, I sort of take the RGT85 approach here, where I'm so happy with what I have, and I'm blessed to have gotten in at a time where you could still find this stuff on Marketplace and at garage sales, and so I don't really have any collecting goals. I'd love to finish off those 3 childhood NES games I need, but I'm not really in a rush to do that.
If it happens, it happens.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at with my DK Junior Math at this point. I'm 2 games away from the black box set right now for Nintendo, and I got Stack Up at a really killer deal. I paid like $800 for that one, so I sold a couple things off and picked that up. But that DK Junior Math, that's like a $6,000 game right now. I think is what the last. I think Daniel sold his last copy for like $6,000 complete in box. I'm just like,
yeah,
shit. So that's definitely always on like on the list of goals that I would love to achieve in 2023. But I don't think that's going to be a possibility for me because there's a bunch of other shit coming out that definitely want to get. Like the PSVR 2 is definitely probably top of the list. When I get that email from it, that's going to be the next thing that I really pick up.
You didn't get an email yet?
So I did, but the fucked up thing was I would look back through my list and it came out. I got the email on November 2nd, but I just didn't see it, I guess, or didn't click on it. And when I did click on it, it's like, oh, here's the link to your pre-order event. And I click on it. Oh, this event expired, but keep an eye out, blah, blah, blah.
That means mine's no good then. I got mine the next day. Yeah.
You had to do it like right when you got the email for it.
I didn't have the money for it. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's my number one thing for next year. I'll be honest with you, I am going for a couple full sets, but I kind of just don't care. Retro, I'm all EverDrive, all Peekaboo on GameCube, X Station on PlayStation. It's just too much. I just can't afford it. I mean, that's just the simple truth. Like, I'm not going to shell out the $6,000 for a math game I'm never going to play. Like I can't
I'll get
anymore.
it eventually.
I've been there. I mean, I had a full Genesis set, full Master System set. I sold it all off. I've got a cartridge. It's always in there that I can play it with. Like I don't need it anymore. It satisfies you when you finish it. 6 months later, you don't care. So that's just the truth for me.
I never play Sega Saturn, and I never play.
Yeah, Sega Saturn. I quit collecting.
Yeah. I really don't care about probably 75% of my PS1 collection, even though I love PS1.
Yeah,
I've got a huge box. He just sits in the closet all day, does nothing, you know.
I mean,
it's not emulation, so you got access to it.
I guess the question is like, if you don't care to play the game, why bother collecting it at all? If you don't care to play it.
Yeah, I've realized that.
A lot of this stuff too is like, it's not like it used to be like 10 years ago. Not to be the old guy, get off my lawn, but you kind of go to a garage sale, you get a box of stuff for like $50. You sell the console in a couple games, get your money back, and then whatever you don't have, you just kind of throw it into the collection, right?
Yep.
And the doubles
That's
the doubles.
exactly what I do.
That's what I did. I had 2 full shelves of PS2 sports games. Got rid of them this year. Super happy.
It's cool when you're in like full collector mode, or I don't know how anybody gets into retro collecting now with the prices the way they are and the competition and the scarcity. But like I said, 10 years ago, you just end up filling tubs. I've got 6 tubs of PS2. And it's
exactly. All PS2. It's like all PS2.
And that's why you wind up doing what me and Shane do, and we hit all these community events as vendors and just dump that shit off, man. Like, $5 games, people.
He's using this as an excuse to just get rid of the game
he
doesn't want.
Yeah.
You do that, and we promote our local game nights as well. So we've been doing those game nights every third Wednesday. So we host that, and actually we had a lady drop an idea on us this yesterday, which blew my mind. I didn't even think about it. She's like, "Do you guys do birthday parties?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am. We can do a birthday party for you. We can figure that out because we've already got the event space. We've already got the games up there ready to go. So we got all our retro consoles. We got Nintendo, Super Nintendo hooked up.
Try to make some.
We'll have a PS2 hooked up. We got a couple Switches for the kids to play and stuff. So it's like, we can do a birthday party for you. Couple hours, 10 kids, couple $100.
Can you do balloon animals?
I'll figure it out. I can make a balloon gun and. Who cares if it's a gun? It's just
what's hilarious? Let me tell you something. I meant to tell you this, Tony. So there was a Christmas event that we had here in town. I live, Mark knows what it is, Circleville. They've got this little park set up now. It's called you wouldn't know, but there's an event called Pumpkin Show that people like travel across the country for. And they have this place called Pumpkin Show Park now. Well, they have this little indoor area, and they have a setup for all these games. It's essentially like a mobile setup, but it's called Circleville Gaming Events. And they have all these consoles in there. So it's like a console from this area. Like there's one 16-bit console, one 32-bit console. Had it set up in there. Cool. Remind me exactly. Yeah. And the naming is pretty close to what you guys are doing. But I thought, like, that's actually a pretty cool idea. And I talked to the guy. He said they were being paid $1,000 to do 4 hours there. 4
Jesus
hours.
Christ.
4 hours.
Yeah,
Wow.
4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll definitely look into that. I mean, because like I said, she blew my mind with that whole birthday thing. Because I'm like, yeah, you bring the kids to us. We've got the venue for it. We've got the games for you. We'll set that up. What's that?
How do you work out the venue? It's a restaurant, right?
So it's a restaurant downstairs. He's got a restaurant, bar, and grill downstairs. And then upstairs, it's got like a total event space where it's got like a separate room over to one side that's got like closed doors. So we put all the video games in there. So, we can close the doors if it gets too loud. And then you walk out of that room into another big area that's got like a big open area. So that's where we have our vendor usually at. He'll come up and set all his shit up for sale. And then you walk around the corner and there's like a what they would use for like an upper area seating. If you had, overflow from the restaurant, you'd take them upstairs. But what we've been doing is using that for like a tabletop area. So people can come bring their tabletop card games and stuff like that. Bring your group of friends and play your card games over there in a quiet atmosphere, so we can keep it away from the video game stuff and but be there together as well. So it's really awesome. And Mo's a really good dude. He kind of let us set up there for free. He's like, if you guys start drawing a crowd, we'll work out a deal where you can get a portion of the food sales, and then I'll pay you like $100 to do the event for the night. Unfortunately, the first couple of weeks we've been doing it, we hadn't really had a whole lot of people show up, so I hadn't been pushing the issue, trying to get money out of him for it. I'm like, look, let us get you a crowd going first, then we'll do that. So, that birthday party I did was a really nice little kick. We'll get that popping as well.
Good shit.
Yeah.
What do we got going on next, Scott?
Well, I
On the
think
agenda.
you have the community topics up there. Are you ready to have a
Yeah.
look at them?
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right. What you got
so
there?
we got, just threw a couple random things in there a few hours ago. We got the DS
Chicken versus fish. Go.
Yeah, DS versus PSP, that one out. So I put that and a couple others on there. So everybody's thoughts on that?
DS versus PSP. I'm
Yeah.
PSP all the way. I'm going PlayStation. I'm taking the PSP.
I'm going DS.
I'm taking the PSP.
DS is my favorite system. Alongside Vita. Yeah, it's so many titles on that. It's got everything. What do you think, Scott? I can see your thinking face.
Hey,
I
that's a
love
hard
the
one.
PSP too, by the way. I mean, I had more PSP games, but
That's a
DS,
hard one for me because my PSP is soft modded and I can play just about anything. I do have a few games for it, but everything's soft modded. And I've got all kinds of. I can play ColecoVision on there. I got all kinds of ROMs, but I think all in all, I've always had a better time with my DS than my PSP, and especially since I can play my GBA games and stuff with my DS Lite. So I would go DS. And it would have to be a DS Lite, not an original DS, just because it got a brighter screen and
Nah,
Yeah.
gotta go the OG, just because that's what I grew up playing.
yeah, I mean,
Got that
I like the
nostalgia
form
kicking
factor
in.
of the OG. I do really like the form factor, and the blue one that I had was like this awesome royal blue.
Electric
but-
Blue, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Electric
yeah.
Mhm.
I love that one.
I had the
But the
red
screen-
one
I always
that came
pick those
with the Mario Kart DS. where
Mario
it had
Kart
those
DS.
stickers and stuff. That long.
I got
that
a
fall
lot.
off.
I got it at launch. I just had the silver one, but
That's good
what do you
Christmas.
think, Chris?
Well, listen, I like the PSP. I like that you can the later models you can hook it up to the TV, but I don't like that one little thumbstick. I'm gonna take a DS Lite so I can play Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, and the entire DS library. Man, it's strong for sure.
Very strong library. Yeah, and if you're into RPGs, my God, that system doesn't have
Oh
RPGs.
yeah.
More RPGs than PS1. I mean, it's just about anything I can think of.
Because also with the Game Boy Advance, they re-released a lot of like the old NES, SNES games
Yes.
on like Game Boy Advance, so you have that option as well. It's just a massive library on like the first two versions of the DS.
That's
that
true.
you
They
can
did
play.
do a lot of that.
The
Yeah.
PSP is sweet. You got Mega Man X Maverick Hunters, Mega Man Powered Up,
Powered up. Yep.
Dracula X Chronicles. Like
Yep.
the
Right.
PSP isn't the
PSP 's
slouch. I'm not trying to-
fantastic.
No, I just think the availability with the library, at least for the first two versions of the DS, where you could still play the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games, it just opened up such a massive library of games that I just think it just wins out for me on that side.
I agree. Then you have the DSi that's got all the eShop games that you have a whole other access to.
Okay,
Over
so
1,000 games.
So now you're kind of tilting the scale a little bit though, because you're going with a PSP, but then
Right.
you've got 4 different versions of your damn DS
But-
over here. So I'm gonna have to throw in the Vita then. Like we gotta
No,
pull the Vita
I was
into the
thinking
battle.
with the
No,
first
If
two
you're going that
versions.
route, we're
There's
pulling the
4
Vita in, and it blows
4
everything else out of the water.
Tony, there's 4 PSP models. See, the PSP Go had all the digital
that
shit
doesn't
on
count. That piece of shit does not count. That's a freaking
That's a
cell
piece of
phone.
shit.
My PSP Go. It's right here on the ready, and that's my
You
play
know,
more
all
than
I'm gonna say
anything.
is, to be fair, later on in the DS's life, as they made changes, they got rid of the bottom slot, which then gates off the amount of games you can play. So there's a difference between the older versions of the DS and the newer ones, as far as like the
Butt
game
crack.
library.
There's Brandon's butt crack. We get that every podcast.
I
I just wonder when it was
I
going to
think
come up.
I think bringing
Don't make fun of
the
my baby. I love
bringing
this
the
thing.
bringing the stores in doesn't count anymore, because I know you can still download stuff that you've already downloaded, but if you got a DSi in your hand right now, you just got your cartridges and that's it. So, and same thing with the PSP, unless you're going to mod them. And so if we're talking about, hey, here's a 12-year-old kid, and I have this old DSi sitting around, and I got a box full of games, and here's a PSP and a box full of games, which one you going to go with? And then we could shoot these ducks all day, because we're talking about.
So
you know,
there's access to over 8,000 games between the GBA and the DS.
you have all the
PSP, you're
games.
looking at 2,000.
PSP, we're talking loading times. We're talking a lens that can go bad. I mean, like I
Very
said,
slow.
then you've got two different screens on that DS. Now I've actually gone inside of a PSP before. So some of you may have as well.
Been there.
It's a little easier to replace some of the stuff on some of that. But if you try to replace a screen on a DS, you may as well kiss your whole damned afternoon goodbye. Maybe even part of the evening.
I've actually done a screen on a PSP and on the DS as well, and the PSP was much easier. It's literally pop it in half, one ribbon cable, like 3 or 4 screws, and it's done.
Yeah. I have a DS Lite. It's beautiful. I have this is like just a spare one that I have, and it like every once in a while that top screen will flicker, and then it'll flicker, and go out. And I read something somewhere that said, yeah, you got to replace that screen. So I bought a screen, and it's sitting here in a box. Everything's sitting here in a box. And when I saw that, on I think it was on iFixit, when I saw what I was going to have to get into to do that, I said, "Oh, to hell with this."
You're about probably a 6-hour repair job into fixing that screen.
But that's the thing is, I'm afraid I won't be able to do it because shit's so small, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. I mean, I can still read everything with glasses off and stuff like that.
Glasses, make it easy.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to have. But I just don't want to take the damn time to do it. I'll tear down a PS3 any day, but I do not want to get into that. So if I was,
I've got an address I can give you. You can send it into my repair guy if you need to.
Yeah,
he's my local guy. He's a local guy that does all the repairs for all of my old consoles and stuff. We'll give him a shout out, Mike Romy with Retro Tech Repairs down here in Comer, Georgia. That's the man.
Yeah, because like if I could give it to anybody and then just be like, yeah, here's I mean, I'm not expecting him to do 6 hours worth of work and be like, okay, here's $5, but
no.
But at the same time, I also know what it's worth to just say screw this, smash into oblivion, or put it on eBay with its thing, and somebody else can do that, and I can buy another one because this one is my spare. But like I said, the body of it and everything, it's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. So, I mean, if I could put that into my daughter's hand here, maybe sometime next year and go, there you go, she'd be like, oh, cool. Or maybe a year or two from now, but hell, by that time, now she's grabbing our Switch Lite and playing with it. And I'm going, it might be time to get her Switch Lite.
To be fair, though, when you start going into like the repair side of it, other than just playing it, that's like a whole separate discussion. Because then you're just dealing with technology in general, and just fixing technology is such a headache.
Yep.
True. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
Each system has its own like quirk, and it can be a pain, and it's hard to figure out like what one issue is. But as far as like when I was picking this discussion, the repair side wasn't even going to be a thought.
Yeah, but that's when Brandon did, because that's why I went down that rabbit hole. Because when Brandon brought in the eShop and stuff like that, I'm like, doesn't count.
I just said that as a joke, by the way.
Yeah, well, I know, but it just does. I mean, it'd be cool if you were getting one that already had a shit ton of games on it and stuff that somebody downloaded. That'd be great.
Preloaded something.
But if somebody says, "Oh, I'm going to reset that," well, there goes all those games. So, but Brandon, even as a joke, that's still a valid point, as long as you have a shop that's open. So. When it comes to Nintendo,
yes, if you want DS,
but you could also say too, though, like with the capabilities of playing the DS games on multiple systems as well. Like you pull a fucking PSP UHM out of something, like what the hell else are you gonna play that in?
That's it.
Nothing.
Yeah,
you're literally only gonna play that in a PSP.
At the very least, I know they just discontinued it a few years ago, but you can play old DS games on like a new 3DS that's like only 2 or 3 years old that you can still easily get a hold of at a. The prices are going to be what they are, but you can buy a newer system that's going to last a lot longer and pop in the new games. Obviously, Game Boy
if you want to play 3DS, if you want to play
DS,
DS, go 3DS.
Yep.
I have a 2DS. It works perfect.
Yeah, at least I can say that with Nintendo. When they did the DS, they kept the old cartridges at least compatible with the new stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I would definitely take my hat off. Well, that's a completely different system.
Family. Yeah, it's not the same.
But I think that's also the Achilles heel of the DS too, because a lot of people, that screen, and you would have the wires get bent and all that stuff. So maybe handing off a DS to a 5 or 6 year old, is not the best thing. A 2DS would probably be better.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
That solid base on it's really nice on the 2DS.
Yeah.
Because who uses the 3D anyways? Let's be real, nobody.
I don't know anybody that does.
It looks
so,
terrible. I don't like it.
And
It's
the thing
a pretty
is,
cool effect. I get it, but at the same time, like you said, nobody really uses it. I mean, you can only do it for so long before the shit starts giving you a headache anyway.
and the cool thing
Staring
about
at that little
about the-
screen with your eyes crossing.
Yeah, right.
Well, the cool thing about the regular 2DS, not the one that folds, the second model, is that's just one whole screen. So if
Right.
that thing gets
Like that.
cracked, pop, put another one on, that's it, or just get yourself another one. I mean, it's not that big of a deal as opposed to, I gotta go through this, I gotta take the top off, I gotta, I have the second screen, whatever, just a nightmare. But now we're going back down that rabbit hole of repairs.
Yeah, right.
But
I got 2 more things on here if you guys want to try to hit that real quick.
yeah, you said our first true love system. Was that one of them?
Yeah. System that we first kind of fell in love with gaming. It's what you got, Chris.
Well, like I said, I was born in '78, so I'm a Nintendo kid. Nintendo is my first love. At my aunt and uncle's house, they had a Sega Master System. It was like my everyday girlfriend was the Nintendo, and my side piece was the Sega Master System. So I actually do love the Sega Master System. I don't play for it as much as I should. I have pretty much all the games that my aunt and uncle had. It was always a treat because they'd pull this big pink duffel bag out of the closet and we'd hook that up and we'd play Aztec Adventure and Choplifter and all those great Master System games. So I'd say my first love is the Nintendo for sure. But, my little side piece there, the Sega Master System always kept me happy.
Yeah. What you got, Scott?
I can get down on that.
I'll go along with having a side piece as well because my first love was the Atari 2600, and that's what I got back in the early to mid 80s, and then of course the ColecoVision came out, and then I won't even get into what happened there, but I ended up with a couple defective units right after Christmas. Won't even get into all that. So then I ended up getting a Commodore 64. And then I still had a bunch of 2600 games because my parents were like, oh yeah, if you want this other more expensive system, and it's not Christmas time or anything, you got to sell that and that 2600 and some of the games to help pay for it. I go, oh, okay. So some guy that my dad worked with came over and bought it, and then I got my Commodore, and then as I bought myself the tape drive, and then when the next Christmas came around, I asked for the disc drive. But then I still had all these Atari games, so my mom and dad kind of surprised me just one day, and they said, hey, I know you got all those Atari games, and you're still kind of, wanting to play them. I found this Atari at a garage sale, and this was in the 80s, so people were like, we don't play with that Atari anymore, and it was like, I don't know, they must have paid like $15 for it or something. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's my first love was the Atari, but I got to go with the Commodore 64 for my for my side piece or my second love, just because she was there and I had her a long time. And I will say this, while we've got people watching, I am going to be launching a hunt down for that very Commodore 64 if I can find it, because I still have the serial number for it. I still have the box. It is possible it still exists. It may not be in a landfill. Somebody might still have it. And I know there's communities out there who that they'll be like, yeah, I'll check on mine, and they'll check that. But, it might be somewhere in a landfill. So, be on the lookout for that, because I am going to try to find my original Commodore and see if we can get reunited.
I think you're going to find it because, a lot of these Facebook groups, first of all, they still make games for Commodore 64.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They still program them. But when I got into the Sharp NES TV Facebook group, the first thing they wanted was the make number, the model number, the serial number. They wanted pictures. So there's some Facebook group out there that probably has a database of Commodore 64 consoles and where they were. Like, they wanted to know where I got this, how much I paid for it. The guy that told me where he got it, he was like, my dad owned a Rent-A-Center store in Piqua, Ohio, and this was the display model there. So I had to give them this information. You know what I mean? So I think you'll find your Commodore 64, man. I think that would be awesome.
That's dope.
Well, I
Yeah.
was picking the brain of Perry Fractic from Perry Fractic's Retro Recipes, and he's kind of doing the same thing. And I said, hey, I had an idea for a show for you or something like that. Now he doesn't need my ideas. He hasn't, you know, a list a mile long, and he said, well, I'm already looking for mine, and he just said something about that recently because he had a really cool show where he recreated his bedroom or one corner of his bedroom from the 80s with the actual computers and everything that was on his desk. He had photos and stuff, and he put it there in his studio. And then there was 2 different bedrooms or 2 different setups, and he set them both up. And now he's going after to try to find that Commodore. But he told me, he was just like, and it never occurred to me, Chris, it just never occurred to me that, I mean, I know I'm on several different groups on Facebook, you know, whether it be Game Junction or Ohio Retro Gamer or, you know, some of the ones in Seattle or wherever. But it just never occurred to me to go on Facebook and say, well, I'll start here. But he was just like, dude, go on Facebook. And I was like, well,
You
holy
can
shit.
literally find a Commodore 64 Facebook group.
Yeah,
I'm
I
in
found
like 7 of them. There's
Well,
in
but
so
you see,
many of them.
I have a Commodore that I bought last year, and it's been recapped, and it's just beautiful. But it's not that one. And if even if it doesn't work, so I think it's going to be one of those things that I start filming the journey of trying to find this thing, and when we get to the end of it, or maybe there might be several chapters. So yeah, we're gonna go for it. So if anybody out there, anybody out there has any ideas,
I just brought up a box from the basement, and I had 2 boxes. One that says Dad's Atari. Do not put stuff heavy on this, right? So it's got my Atari. And then the other box had 2 ColecoVisions. It had this other Pac-Man tabletop in there. Then it had a tape deck, a cassette tape deck for a Commodore 64, and like a bunch of controllers. And I was like, I don't know, take that back down there. Give me the Atari stuff. So it's down there somewhere.
Cool.
Yeah, I gotta track down another ColecoVision at some point. Have you guys seen? Speaking of which, not to go on a tangent, have you seen Scott the Collector Vision Phoenix? You guys aware of that?
Yes, I have.
So I got an email, and working on trying to get one. I don't know if you know, but they've been sold out for a long time. Haven't talked about doing another run or anything for them. So I'm hoping that works out, but I'm not going to get my hopes up. I've been trying to get one for like probably 2 years or so. So that would be cool. It's essentially like it's just a ColecoVision, newly built, plays the games. So I mean, you're going to have another system for it for like 20, 30 years probably.
And it is FPGA if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
It's not emulator, right?
It's not emulation. Yeah, it's all real hardware. So it's pretty cool shit.
So where you
That's
at,
really
Mark?
cool.
What's your first love?
See, I was thinking about it, and it's kind of like because there's like 3 systems, and surprisingly, I still have the 3 systems that I grew up with.
Nice.
Because I grew up really early on playing a SNES and a 64. The earliest I can remember still had both of those, but and I think I've got a weird love for those, but it never had a whole lot of games, and I didn't really consider myself getting into gaming until I got to like the GameCube and started playing those types of games. So if I had to
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
It's not as old just because I'm a little on the younger side in the group, but it really probably goes down to the GameCube is probably like the oldest favorite one as far as my love for it.
Game Boy Player is the greatest accessory of all time.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, there's just a lot you can do because it's like what they did with like the SNES with the Game Boy Color player.
Yeah.
Newer system. It's just I thought that add-on is amazing, especially if you're trying to like get like record footage nowadays. It's the easiest way to get like Game Boy Advance games to record and stuff like that. It's amazing.
I like it because as someone that's like getting older, I can't like do this.
Or it might hard to find an old Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance. That's the worst.
Yeah. Actually, I just talked to a guy that sells, and I've got like 3 Game Boy Colors, a Game Boy Advance. I'm like, I just want to get rid of these. They're just taking up space. I got like some really cool trade credit. I know he's got a copy of Mega Man 5 in there. But with the Game Boy Player, man, playing it on your TV, just so much more convenient.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it blows up nicely too. It's not like it doesn't get really distorted either when it's really nice hardware.
Wasn't a cheap hardware add-on. Something they obviously put work into.
Let me
The
blow
sad
your
thing
mind
is
with
that
that.
The disc is worth more than the system.
Yeah, right.
I just
Yeah.
sold mine 2 weeks ago, the disc. Let me tell you why. Peekaboo offers in there a Game Boy player that works better, essentially shows the games at a better resolution and better frame rate than the disc can offer. But let me blow your mind on this. So I got the Peekaboo done. You got access to all the GameCube games. Grab you an EverDrive GBA. You can play NES, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Color, GBA, full entire library is right on your GameCube on the screen, better than even the disc can offer. So I got that loaded up a few months ago, but that has everything to offer on there. I mean, it's absolutely. Oh, it has a Genesis now emulator as well. So
That's
you have
cool.
that. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But of course, with
God, I
this,
could
like,
imagine playing some of those weird ass 3-button games on a Genesis with a damn GameCube controller.
Well, there's other
Yeah, you
options.
know what?
They have the Game Boy player controller. They've got specific like Genesis style controllers essentially that are like for like all these different games. But yeah, the GameCube probably has like more controllers for it than anything I know.
No,
It's
I wanted to say
absolutely
I was
insane.
watching a YouTuber, and I don't remember who it was, but I agree with them that I think like one of the best controllers it would be the GameCube controller.
Yeah,
It's not
I agree with
because
that.
it's just all the buttons just fit so right that are designed with it. Obviously, you've got the one joystick, that's like the one net for it, but as far as like how the buttons work, it just makes sense with your hands. Like the more I thought about it,
very ergonomic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Scott, you want to roll into our ending here?
Yeah, I think that'd be
Okay.
be a good idea for
Yeah.
for the evening. So let's see here. If you'd like to catch up with us at the Game Junction, you can check us out on our socials at Linktree/Game Junction. Yes, so you can catch us on our Twitter page and, of course, the Facebook and whatever else we've got on there. We've got tons of different socials. So anything that Junior or Grandma can get into, you can follow us on there. And of course, if you'd like to support us on Patreon and get the extra scoop on all things Game Junction, including discounts on merch and a special role in Discord, that is patreon.com/game_junction. And then, of course, yeah.
I just want to add for where the description's available, all that stuff will be in the description as well for all that stuff.
Yep.
I made sure that.
Absolutely. And then, of course, you can join Buzzsprout with our affiliate link, and we'll put that down in the description because it is super long, but that is on buzzsprout.com, and we have a refer ID for that. And then one of our other sponsors, we have Uppbeat Energy, official sponsor of the Game Junction Podcast. So have a shot of Uppbeat Energy official. Yeah, I got to get some of that stuff because today I was dragging ass. So Uppbeat, help me undrag my ass. So you get an extra 10% off a Uppbeat Energy mix with code GameJunction1, and that is at www.uppbeat.gg/discount/GameJunction1, and that'll also be in the comments, description, etc., etc. And if you want game gear and would like to help support Game Junction, here's some merch from Bonfire. So that is at bonfire.com/GameJunction.
We also just put up some new merch 2 days ago. So there's stuff for just the podcast and a whole bunch of other stuff on there. Ton of options.
Woohoo!
I went
And
through
new
everything and spent hours on it. So
And new stuff coming soon as well. So
Yeah.
we'll be trickling some of that in as we get some designs completed for shirts and hats and whatever else we're going to be doing there. And then, of course, Reaper Apparel, not just clothing, but a lifestyle and a daily reminder to escape the mundane. Reaper Apparel, built for those who refuse to die slowly.
Speaking
That
of
is-
Reaper over your shoulder.
Yes, right there. How appropriate. That is reaperapparelco.com. 10% off with the code Game Junction Podcast. And that is everything for this evening. Chris, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us. We really appreciate having you. And thanks for putting up with our technical issues and everything.
Anything you'd like to plug, Chris? You got any plugs you want to drop in here?
Just the channel, man. CMRetro Gaming at YouTube.com. Definitely appreciate being here. It's a great time. Can't wait to come back.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Good having you.
Great. Yeah,
Pretty good.
We'll plug your link down below description. But yeah, I appreciate
will be
having you, man,
plugged.
for sure. You'll be
Thank you.
plugged. Yeah, absolutely,
we
man.
like to plug all our guests.
Yeah. I think Tony was trying to say pig, but hey, let's
Whoa,
leave
whoa,
off.
whoa.
Let's
That's
leave.
the after podcast.
That's the after podcast. That's the podcast after midnight. But all right, guys, we appreciate you coming out tonight. Thanks, Chris. Thanks everybody else, and we'll be back next week.
See
See ya.
Peace.